Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Jeremy, and I no longer need any of you to work for me anymore. So you all are fucking excused.
This is Aaron. I go by Treffenwood on Discord.
So, Jeremy, would you like to deny the fact that you burnt the building down?
I did not burn any building down.
Yet.
Jeremy, do you or do you not now kneel before a robot tyrant?
I will speak on that later.
You don't have to answer that.
Okay.
Never mind.
If I say that over the internet, they'll get mad at me again.
You don't think robots know what we're... Come on now.
Alrighty, so quick announcements. Parker, you're down to 2,596 episodes.
And counting.
And counting. You're doing reasonably okay at that. Announcements for local people. The infamous custom dice are in the mail. I should have them very soon. Fingers crossed you'll have them before this airs, but worst case scenario will probably be next week. So probably Monday. For people not local that want infamous custom dice, Baron of Dice is going to have them on his website soon. He's going to put up a pre-order. I will put the link in the show notes. So infamous custom dice will be available through Baron of Dice. Or if you're local to Kansas City, you can just ask me for them. As always, we have our Patreon in the show notes and Muse on Minis links in show notes. Parker, do we have any news today?
No, we have no news.
I don't think we do. Okay. Cool. I feel like no news is good news.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, let's just slow down. Just pump the brakes,
Everyone
buddy.
calm
Pump
the fuck down. It's been a lot of news
Calm
lately.
down. Just calm down.
We've had enough for show.
I don't know about you guys, but I personally was happy with the no news.
God.
All
I mean, I guess there was news. Sorry. There was kind of news.
What's
they
that?
put shit in affiliations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We didn't cover that.
Yeah, well, that's because it is new.
I mean,
Wait,
it's
what?
Winter Guard, so who gives a fuck,
Yeah.
right?
Hey, Yeah, they added all the Russian people to
Hey,
Winter Guard.
Get
And
over
they
there,
said they wouldn't-
trash.
Yeah.
Go visit your friends.
I know that you've never been friendly towards these people, but you were born somewhere, right?
Oh, Omega Red, you know where you go. Just go line up with those.
Oh,
Parker, can you give us a confirmation? Is Omega Red part of Winter Guard?
he is.
He is. Absolutely.
No, but like
in
canonically.
the
Oh,
comics.
not even a little.
Not even a little. But,
He's not from Mother Russia.
I don't even think Black Widow.
Shut
Maybe
your
she shows up in
goddamn
that show.
mouth.
I don't think
Just
she
'cause-
does.
just because she hangs out with Red Guardian.
Yeah, I think
In a movie once.
Yeah, Winter Soldier, kinda, I guess, but I don't know if any
Winter.
of them were part of the actual organization. So yeah, I guess the affiliation did get updated. But was there anything in here besides the Winter Guard that was kind of cute? Was there anything in here that wasn't?
No, they
Oh,
just
shit.
they just put the
Scripted.
new core boxes in. The affiliations are supposed to go into.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need to
Right,
change
but
my
I'm
tiers
looking for
with
one
these
that's like
updates.
surprising besides the Winter Guard one.
Yeah,
There
the
was
Winter
no
Guard
way.
was really the only shock and awe.
Winter Guard's
Everyone's like,
climbing up the
"What?"
charts.
Yeah.
They're so good now.
I'm actually 10% upset about the Winter Guard change.
Of course you
Because you had to play them before they.
Well, I'm
before
11%
they had
upset.
5
So you're not
characters.
even the most upset.
No. Okay. So again, I played Winter Guard relatively recently. What they don't need, here's what they don't need: a medium-based small mover.
They're
to
all
go
filled
with their
up on
other
that.
two medium-based small movers.
All full up.
Holy effing shit!
I think that actually makes them much better, if you ask me.
I'm not asking you right
So they
now.
can trundle around like fucking snowmen.
Like, at 2-point Widow moves the needle 0 on any affiliation because she could always go anywhere. Like, oh great, now I can run Red Guardian, Winter Soldier, Bucky, and Widow. You're like, well, fuck, you could have done that before.
Could have
This
already done
does
that.
nothing for the affiliation, and it kills me.
Let's be
Oh my
honest.
God.
The affiliation gained footing by not having to play Darkstar and Ursa Major ever.
So okay, Ursa Major is worth putting on the table. Darkstar is not.
As long as you're not trying to win.
I disagree. I think Red Guardian is your tech piece. You have to play Dynamo, unfortunately. So you're usually playing Dynamo,
Unfortunately.
Major.
The only saving grace of the entire faction. Unfortunately, you basically have to play
Are
it.
you telling me that you would play Dynamo in every single game? Fuck no.
Yes.
God, no.
I think you just build a Crimson Dynamo list and it's just like, congrats, this is Winter Guard.
Sure, and then you play on Riots, and you're like, fuck my life.
I'll deal.
Sure. Yeah, so they still have absolutely no way to deal with wide scenario because their leader is a center scenario specialist. Anyway, we don't need to get on a Winter Guard tangent, but I just see lots of people posting, yay, Winter Guard, finally! And I was like, what the flying fuck are you thinking?
I actually was thinking about something. Speaking of Winter Soldier, we know that he has a card that allows him to give like a passive bonus when he's close to a leader, and we knew it was Hydra, which he's in, Cabal, which is in, but there's a third one,
Crimson.
and I don't. What was it?
Right? Was it Criminal Syndicate?
Yeah, that's what I thought, but he's not in Criminal Syndicate, so you'll have
correct.
to take him out of affiliation in order to give that to the Criminal Syndicate. I think that's interesting. So that's just something to note.
This is
Correct.
yet another blow to the people that make assumptions about affiliations.
Yeah. I will say that I am very excited to play A-Force again when this new box drops, and I was just crossing my fingers and hoping that they wouldn't take Cosmic Avenger, Captain Marvel, and Black Widow out of it, because I think they're both interesting choices in A-Force, and they're both in it. That made me happy. It was just validation for something I expected, but I would have been very disappointed if it didn't happen. So I wasn't disappointed, is the moral of that short story.
Cool.
Winter Soldier
Alright, well,
is in Avengers, though, not Criminals. Interesting.
Are there any surprises other than Winter Soldier's not in Criminals?
And he is in Avengers. That's both kind of surprising, but yeah.
I don't think so.
S.H.I.E.L.D. has Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was
Did
expected.
we already know that?
It was expected. I don't know if we knew that.
It said it mentioned it in his description.
Okay, that's
I
right.
believe.
That's right. He did.
Yeah, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Spider-Man.
Mhm.
And you're like, what?
Do we know why? Is there a particular reason?
Yes. In one of the universes, he is a card-carrying agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Also in the Ultimates universe, he was affiliated with S.H.I.E.L.D. a lot. In the primary Marvel 616, he's not really at all, but he has been in several of the versions of him. He's been Nick Fury's been like in the MCU. He also is pretty close to Nick Fury, though I don't think he's categorized as an agent, except in the second movie. Right? He kind of works for S.H.I.E.L.D. for a bit.
Everyone works for S.H.I.E.L.D. They just don't know it.
Yep.
No, that's Hydra.
Hydra got 4 new characters. I think they were the big winners in terms of numbers, right? Cabal got 1, 2. Oh, Cabal got 5.
The big winner was actually S.H.I.E.L.D.
Avengers got 5. I'm talking about just
That's
in pure
because S.H.I.E.L.D.
numbers.
finally doesn't have to play their dog shit leader anymore. They can play a good model.
S.H.I.E.L.D. also got 5. Wow. Yeah, so S.H.I.E.L.D., Avengers, and Cabal all got 5 more models.
And Hydra.
Hydra, I think,
Only got 4.
Hydra only got 4. Zemo, Crossbones, New Red Skull, and Winter Soldier. Operative. Criminals only got Crossbones, Merciless Merc. But it's all they needed to be badass, finally.
I'm fucking pissed that none of them was a leader.
Of
Do what?
Criminal? Because they need a fifth leader.
Yes.
Nice.
They're all fighting to be leaders. That's the thing about Criminals.
I mean, they should be.
Who all is Iron Man is only S.H.I.E.L.D. Avengers?
Iron Man, S.H.I.E.L.D., Avengers, yes. Yep.
Cool. It's going to be an interesting meta shakeup after WTC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just taking
Oh,
Emma
Cap-
with all new models.
Interesting. Captain America
Except
First
for this.
Avenger, it was also added to S.H.I.E.L.D. So
That's the new one, isn't it?
no, that's the leader they're adding. The core set leader is a S.H.I.E.L.D. member and the Avengers leader.
Yeah. I always assumed he was going to be in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, really? I did not. I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't know.
Say one of the other Steves is in S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know why the new one wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I guess the original Captain America is the only one that's not, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving on, I'd like to jump right into our main topic, if you guys are good with that. I have no idea how long this is going to take.
Let's
I think it's
go.
going to be an open and shut case. Barely an inconvenience.
Open and shut case.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, do you have a specific way you want to tackle this? I don't
So
know.
I would first describe the tiers, then I think we go by affiliation.
Okay.
Because
And
I
then
think
just we go each affiliation, then everyone says where they think the affiliation is.
where they think they are and why, yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with that. Do you guys feel the need to have an S tier instead of just A?
I don't care what we call them, but whatever.
I think we can
Wait,
call
what?
them A until something emerges that's not an A. If everyone decides that. But that's only if there's something that lands there. And
I'm confused. I made a tier list based on what was described. I have S, A,
Okay.
B,
We'll
D.
start with S because Parker's gonna have a stroke if we don't.
Okay, well, why
And
don't
then I'll just change it later. Don't worry.
why don't I describe the tiers for everyone? Put us on the same
for it.
tier, same ground. Okay, so we divvied up all the affiliations into one of 5 tiers, and basically it boils down into, from our perspective, how surprised would you be to hear that this affiliation won a top tourney, like LVO, York, WTC, whatever the case may be? So an S tier affiliation is just a shrug. Yep, I expected them to win. They will typically have a good to great leadership with a solid core and are usually easy to pilot. A tier, you're like, okay, makes sense. You're not shocked that they won the tourney. They have a good to great leadership, solid core, but maybe they take some reps and experience to pilot pretty well. B tier is a little eyebrow raising. You're like, okay, I can see it happening, but I'm intrigued. Like, I want to know more. Like, who piloted them? What was the list they ran? Because generally they will be lacking in something, whether it's the leadership, the core models, or the synergy that they have. C tier, you're like shocked. You're like, wait, really? There's something to the faction, but there's too many holes for a solid outing versus the field, so you're a little taken aback. And then D tier is a literal April Fool's joke. They're sorely lacking in leadership or core models and are a play for fun affiliation.
They didn't win. Somebody was lying to you.
Correct. You're like,
Yeah.
no, they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so Parker, if you want to bring up the affiliation list.
Okay. I got it.
I got it here too.
Okay.
But if you got it, it's fine.
One of you go. Who's
The
first?
first,
We'll go in normal order, I guess. So I'll go first. You said A Force.
A Force is first.
A Force is first. I have A Force ranked as C tier. Do we want to defend our statements, or at the beginning, or do we want to do that after everyone's said?
Let's give all of our
right.
ratings and then defend them.
All right, Parker,
I put him in B tier.
you fucking would.
B.
He didn't say we couldn't attack people.
B tier.
And I put them in C with Brandon.
So the reason I didn't put them higher is because I think the competitive A-Force roster is one-dimensional in that regardless of how you build it, it only really accomplishes one objective at a time. If you want to build the objective stealing list that was competitive on TTS, that's like an entire build, right? Your list is only going to do that once it's on the table. I guess your squad rather than your list. And then for the attrition side where you're doing, like the brawly style of A-Force, that's pretty much all they do. And if you get like behind in the attrition game, there's really no out. You're just good at what you do.
I highly concur with you. Biggest weakness is a 6-threat leader, which hampers your ability to be flexible in your squad construction. I won't belittle I won't belabor your points because you made them all. Go ahead, Parker.
I think that one of the things that I keyed in on when I was looking at this tier list was affiliated models and a variety of affiliated models. I think they have a wide variety of affiliated models that can do lots of different things. They have one of the deepest pools of some of the best versions of their characters. Best stealers, best scenario holders, best just turrets, and one of the best 6-pointers in the game for anti-big guys, a good counter. Best bodyguards, best supporters and pushers. Like, they just kind of have the cream of the crop, and then they have leadership that lets them all sing better, and tactics cards that are second to none. The problem is what you guys mentioned. They are kind of one-dimensional. They play a tower of power that I think doesn't have an equal in the game, but it is very much a tower of power. And so if you're not playing that scenario, they just can't be flexible. Or they play the all-in steal tactic, which is possible, but it's a lot less hardy. And their strength is tower of power. That's where they shine. They're not the best scenario stealing list. So because of their inflexibility, I think they struggle to go to the final round every time because eventually they come up to a counter. But I don't think anybody in the game can fight them fair in the middle of the board. I don't think that's a thing that can happen to A-Force, and I think that deserves at least B tier.
Jeremy, comments?
I think that based on what you were saying, I think they're an eyebrow raise if they won, but I don't think it would be shocking in a sense of like, what the hell? I think that if someone practiced them and got good with them, I think that they could do that. They have all the tools to do it. They do have a very expensive leader, but it's a very good leader, and with all the models they have, I think that all the tools are there. And I think that one of their major problems is they don't have any very appealing models. They don't have like a Wolverine, which everyone loves and like forces on in the game to play because we love them. There isn't a Hulk aside from She-Hulk, but who the hell knows about She-Hulk? Like in this day and age, like there just isn't the flair. It's just not there. They have a bunch of odd duck, weird kind of like female models that just aren't in the Marvel universe as strong as some of the other cool shit that's out there, and people just keep jamming it. I think if more people played A-Force, you would see more wins with A-Force. I think they could be good. I just don't think people are playing it. That's my
According to Longshanks, I'm the best A-Force player in the world, and I have not played A-Force enough to earn that
D
title.
player. D.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that's your point, which is I don't think a lot of people play Air Force at a competitive level, and I think that's the only reason why. It's just people haven't played them. I don't think it's very
appealing for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So,
But the tier is not about appeal. The tier is about quality, and I think they have the quality to be.
I would like to push back.
you do it first. Go.
Okay. So Parker, you said that their tactics cards are second to none, and that no one beats them at brawling in the middle. Just from that perspective, I don't think Brotherhood are objectively better than A-Force at doing that exact plan, but I think they have a strong argument for having better tactics cards, and that they have a strong argument for being just as brawly in the middle as A-Force. And so, like, you're telling me that you think that A-Force Assemble and Stalwart are better than Asteroid M and Magnetic Refraction?
No, I said second to none. I mean, I think they're on par with the very best in the game. I don't think they're the best.
You think that they're on par with Brotherhood tactics cards?
Yes, I think they are. I think they're absolutely there.
I think Brotherhood tactics cards are better because they're more dynamic and more dependable.
Well, I think Special Delivery is exactly that, but go ahead.
Special Delivery is amazing, right? But again, you're relying on two usually expensive combination of models to perform one event during the game, and it almost exclusively needs to be early in the game because of the way positioning can get broken up later once you're dug in. But really, when it comes down to it, I don't think She-Hulk has aged particularly well in the game. I think there was a point when she was one of the premier models in the game. I think she's fallen down a lot since the original Hulk got reworked. Immortal Hulk has come out. She can roll a lot of dice and she can potentially stagger, but Immortal Hulk can just walk up and kill her. Like at this point, like that's the level of damage we're talking about. People being able to dish out, and I think in the current meta, having a list that can't spread out is not a recipe for victory.
I think it's exactly the opposite. I think the ability to stand still for one turn means Immortal Hulk can't do a lot of damage. All their models are size 2, even She-Hulk is size 3, so when he starts throwing people, they don't take enough damage. Also, they have the best small bodyguard in the game, so Immortal Hulk will hit Okoye first, and She-Hulk will eat him. I don't think there's actually a way Immortal Hulk can beat them in the middle, because they have exactly the tools to beat big guys. If they just want to fight him in the middle. Now, if Immortal Hulk wants to pick up 3 hammers and run away to the corner, they can't do that. That's why they're not ARS tier. It's because if Immortal Hulk just picks up a bunch of shit and runs, they cannot follow him. That's it. End of game. But if Immortal Hulk wants to stand in the middle and fight them, I don't think Immortal Hulk can win that game.
If you're just talking about Immortal Hulk and She-Hulk fighting each other, like I don't really care that you have Okoye as a bodyguard because she's going to get one-shotted twice which is whatever. Like he'll eat 2 hits, but then like he just throws you away as the next action, and so you're going to get 1 attack on him every turn that he can also have a bodyguard for. I mean, it's not a horrible situation, but I don't see how you win that fight in the long term. Like, he can throw you away and then leap and bounce, and it's like he'll just never be attacked by She-Hulk.
So I don't think we need to come to a consensus here. We have different opinions, and that's cool.
Yeah.
You said everything I was going to rebut with Brandon. She-Hulk has not aged well, and the fact that she's on the table every time still keeps it C tier for me. Any final thoughts before we move on?
Is someone recording these?
Sure.
But I have my own list, but I don't know if you guys have kept your lists.
I have my list.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I think we'll be fine then.
That was spicy. What's next?
Next one is Asgard.
Brandon?
Hold on, I have to read on where I put these fucking terrible people. C tier.
I put them on B tier.
Oh, God, they're so fresh. I'm going to say C for now. I will wait.
I put them on B with Parker this time.
For Asgard, I think they have a lot of good tools, and they're getting better all the time with all the updates that keep going to Asgard. And they get new model releases, especially in the near future. I just don't think they're flexible enough. Like, their average model cost is just so high, and their models are so premium. I don't know. They just, again, they seem a little behind the curve because mainly due to Thor. And I know Thor just got updated, but he definitely does not feel like a premier leader in the game. I don't know. I think the game is just faster than they want it to be right now. And I think they're fine, and I think they'll be better, obviously, with the new releases. But right now, I just don't see them as, something I would expect to be winning on a regular basis.
Okay, so if we go back to our definitions, B tier is eyebrow raising. I could see it happening, but I'm intrigued by the list in the pilot. And C is a shock to win. So I put them in B. Really, I think they're B minus, but I think the buffs rather to Thor and Hela, along with good core models like Valkyrie, Scourge, and a fantastic leadership. Like, I would not be shocked to see Asgard. Someone put together a good Asgard list and win a tournament with it. I know every time I play against them, I'm scared shitless because I'm like, oh, look at that. You charge, you throw everything. Like, they do everything you want people to do. There's some holes there, right? But, so, anyway, I think they're B. Leave it there.
I put them as C because every time I play against Asgard, and I have not played with them in a long time, but every time I play against them, it's like their plan, they don't even know how it's going to end up. Because so much of it is based around, does Thor pop off his throws? Like, do you end up giving them enough power to do the things that they wanted? Like, and they only have such limited pieces that everything needs to work together. So it's almost a shock when they can do the things they want to do. It's just, I would be shocked if they actually make it all the way to a final table and win something big. It would be shocking to me.
Okay.
I value the 2 power a turn thing really high. And, with they started the game way ahead of the curve just with that. And so they were kind of toned backwards with their tactics cards, but now they've been toned back up with their models. And so for exactly the same reasons Aaron got a lot of my points. They do everything they want. Their action economy is really strong. Their power economy is really strong. Their throw economy is really strong. So I can't count them out. So I would just be, good for them, not shocked out of my mind.
I still think their action economy isn't that great.
I agree.
I would love to say that it is. If half of those models got 3 power a turn, I would say that you're absolutely right. But they don't. They get 2, and they need 3.
They definitely have a lot of great superpowers, and they do get more power than average. But I would say that their power cost on average is higher due to that. And most of the models have not been adjusted for that, or have been nerfed because it was too good to start with. So it's definitely better than it was. But yeah. I think that their low model count, I view them like spider foes. They tend to run 4 or 5 models in almost every point total. And I think the current meta just preys on them a bit too much because you've got like stuff like Cosmic Ghost Rider and Immortal Hulk running around, which can kill every model they have, even if you play Odin's Blessing. And on the far side, you've got the go wide list that they really struggle to stay in the point game with. I don't see how they're advantaged into anything that is super competitive. And so I just don't see them making it to the end of a tournament. What is next?
The next is Avengers. Can we all just say what it is at the same time?
Skip.
Obviously S tier, which stands
Pass.
for should be A. I don't remember getting any S's in school. Maybe I was in the dumb class.
You were.
Okay.
It has to be so superior to A, it needs its own letter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Totally expected to win. Great leadership. Plural. Solid core. Perhaps best core models. And very easy to pilot. Like, yep. Checks all the boxes.
Wouldn't it be so great if they were in the A category for Avenger? They're at the top of Avengers Tower with an A. Nope, it's S. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Anyway, moving on.
One of the things I feel like they're supposed to be the starting, affiliation, but I feel like they're also the top affiliation. I feel like
They're
starters
fucking
should
Space
have
Marines, bro.
Yeah,
They're
I
Space
feel like
Marines.
starters should also be somehow below the top of the tier, but they're not. They are absolutely just the top in, like you said, multiple ways, multiple
Well,
characters.
I think they are a good starting affiliation, but I think that the list that people do well with, the S tier list that we're talking about, is not what new players are playing. Like, they might throw stuff on the table that's close, but you don't understand why it's good until, like, you've gotten so far past learning that you're like, oh, I start to see why the tools that they have are so important.
Mhm.
But for me, the fact that they have if you were to basically build like the Hellfire or Dark Dimension list that just have like all the best models in them, you're making very few sacrifices to add in the other models you want for the Avengers list, and also you're getting a better leader in every possible example. And so it's just like they just put the wrong models in the affiliation, like, and the ones that aren't affiliated, you can easily make up the difference with. Like, they just made a mistake. The effects are too strong that you're putting on models that should never have been Avengers.
Okay, it just dawned on me. I have 3 affiliations in each of S, C, and D tiers. As a huge spoiler out there. All of my S tier affiliations share one thing in common. It has to do with their leaders.
They're 3-point leaders.
You're absolutely correct. How many 3-point leaders? Sorry, how many affiliations are defined by their 3-point leaders?
Well, I can
Off the
tell
top of
you,
your head.
there's a reason they had to nerf Cabal, and it's just Sin was just tearing it up.
I said defined by.
So and that's what I'm saying.
Sure. The answer is 4.
Mm-hmm.
There are only really 4 3-point leaders in the game, and in my mind, 3 of them are S tier. Like, I don't care what you put on a leader's card. The most important number on their card is a threat value. We can
By that
discuss
logic,
that when we're done.
I'm not trying to argue with you. Just by that logic, do you think just with that, Sin is better than most 4-point leaders? Just because of that?
No,
I'm
because
I'm
she's
being
absolutely.
legitimate.
The rest of her card's garbage. Like it.
Okay.
Obviously, like the 3-point is huge for the threat value, but if the rest
Yeah.
of it's trash, I mean,
See,
Yeah.
Angela, you circle 3 things on Angela's card. It's medium base, long mover, 2 power turn.
Right.
Yeah, it's Sin, you only circle the 3 points, so it's just like, that's a deal breaker. You need 3 things.
It makes me wonder, should all 3-point leaders be like Sin? Should 3-point leaders be
not that. Oh my god.
really, really bad, except for the fact that they're 3-point leaders? Well, you just said, as soon as you make a model average with a 3-point leadership, they're immediately amazing, right?
Oh, here's
So
the
in order to
problem.
balance the game, could you do that?
Well, I mean, you guys are forgetting another 3-point leader that could have, by every right, been a dominant model and just wasn't as a leader. That's Mystique.
So she almost made my list.
As a super, like, she was widely considered as one of the more backbreaking models in the game because of Deception. Then on top of that, everyone says she's like an A+ model just on her own, which I disagree with, but it's fine. And then also she was in an affiliation that was very strong for a long time, but like nobody cared about her as leader.
I think that's because people have like they're starstruck with mags and
Sure,
put them on the table. Like I played Mystique Brotherhood as my primary brotherhood when I played that, and I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough of a tangent. I was just highlighting that. I was like, I just wanted to share. Okay.
So personally for me on this ranking system, I did A through F and then put S on top. And so I only ranked things in S category if I thought that they were like they've passed the realm of what the game should contain, and that these are issue factions, not that this is the power ranking. Like these are things you need to be aware of, because if you're not planning for it, you're just gonna have a bad time. And then my F tier is basically what your D tier is like you're playing it as a joke or just because you want to be funny, and you have no real expectation of like doing well.
Sure. Okay, what's after Avengers?
After Avengers is Black Order.
I put these guys in the F tier for failing. Their original leadership was mostly a joke, and their secondary leadership was a "we're sorry we broke your faction." So
I really wanted to put these guys in the C tier because they can kill anything, but they just really they're so weird. Their affiliation is just so tiny and self-contained with zero flexibility. They're a D.
Jeremy?
With Thanos changing with stones and stuff, I think it's quick to judge. I'm gonna put them as a C. It wouldn't freak me out either way. I'm pausing on them. I'm not going to harsh them into an F yet. I would have harshed them into an F 2 months ago, but I think that there's potential. I think that being able to use all your tactics card slots and run trains on people, being able to do all the things you used to be able to do, is pretty fucking strong. And seeing that come back out and start winning games again, it would not shock me.
So I'm with you. It's a C tier. I would be shocked to see them win a tournament, but I don't think they're an April Fool's joke. Like, I would believe it. I'm like, okay, they went on a run, which that team can absolutely do. They shouldn't, like, low odds, but I wouldn't be shocked I would be shocked. I would not think it was a joke.
I just obviously being able to add in restricted cards makes them definitely more viable, and that's a recent change. And so, like, I haven't adjusted too much on it. I still don't see it, but it's not that I couldn't be proven wrong. The big thing I feel about them is that I don't know why you're playing Black Order. Like, if you want to play select models, if you want Corvus Proxima, or if you want Thanos, or if you want Ebony Maw, or even if you want, Supergiant, I just feel like there's better places to put those models. Even in a large collection, like, what stops you from just playing Hellfire Club with Black Order? Like, is it not just instantly better by playing Hellfire Club? Because their leaderships are so bad. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just don't see why you're getting an advantage by playing Black Order.
I think the advantage is the kidnap mechanic, right? Thanos, depending on how you build him, probably mind space, is able to portal mind someone to Corvus every turn.
And
I'm not saying that's.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
I'm
really
not saying
simple.
that's like super top tier. I'm just saying that's a reason to play Thanos and Corvus together, and thus it makes sense to play in Black Order.
Yeah. The only way I see it working is if you're just doing Cosmic Ghost Rider with Thanos, and which is something that people do outside of Black Order already, because it's just better elsewhere. But like I said, it's not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be blown away if somebody proved me wrong. I just don't see it.
I'm not ready to sell my Black Order stocks just yet.
It's a C minus. It's close to sell.
Yeah, it's close to sell.
Yeah.
I will say, with Black Order, you will win the first 2 rounds really commonly. Like, you'll get, like, if somebody doesn't know what Black Order does, they will just get vaporized by them. It is a quick death.
Anytime you're playing something that somebody doesn't understand, you're supposed to have a good early couple turns.
False. You could be playing Sentinels. We'll talk about that later.
No, like 100%. You could, anytime you are a far more experienced player or educated player in this specific matchup, you should be doing well. Like, you should never be losing games where your opponent doesn't know what your models do.
I suppose what I meant was, like, it's a fast round 1 and 2. It is quick. It's over quickly. You don't
Also,
you don't get to play long game if you don't understand what Black Order does.
I don't think that playstyle that they used to run works at all anymore. Like, killing 1 model a turn used to be a big deal because people are running 3-4 model lists at like 17 points.
Right.
That's not, like, people are running like 6-7 models at like high point totals now. It's like, sure, kill 2 people a turn. I really don't care. Because guess what? That schedules you to win around turn 7. Like, I will have won the game long before that because you're spending 13 points on one combo that kills one person. Like, it just doesn't matter. And so it's just a completely different game now. There's so many more points on the table. Like, I think if you take Thanos and you're scoring less than 6 a turn, you're probably expecting to lose.
So, Brandon, I think if you cared about your models' lives more, they would roll better for you.
That's not true.
Point in case.
Have you seen how upset I get when they die?
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think you get upset when they fail you. I think that's what it is.
Dying is failing. What's the famous quote? If a Space Marine dies, he's a failure. If a Guardsman dies, he's a hero.
Yeah.
like I play Space Marines. You fucking pieces of shit, quit dying.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next?
The Brotherhood of Mutants.
This hurt a lot.
Oh, it's personal.
I put them in the C category with A-Force. I want them to be higher.
I put them in the B category with A-Force, exactly, and I drew exactly the same comparison.
Yeah. I do think Brotherhood is better, but I don't think they're markedly better. I think it's just mostly matchups.
B. Go ahead.
I also put in B. I'll go first here. I think, like, in my mind, they're almost a B plus. They have a great stable of models. It's only 10 of them ish, but they're good. Great tactics cards. 2 very distinct leaders. 2 distinct play styles that synergize differently. Like, you can play both lists and be comfortable with it. And I think what used to prey on them over the past 6 to 9 months is now nerfed. Right, so Mal's ferocity getting around Magneto still gets around it, but you don't see as much Mal, or he's easier to deal with. Mal doesn't throw jugs anymore. A lot of it's Mal, but Thanos undoing all of the magnetic refraction that you had set up. So I think Brotherhood hasn't been seen lately, and a lot of it is just because I don't know why people decided it wasn't good anymore without the data. So I think there were some holes, but I would not be shocked at all if Brotherhood were to come back in a big way over the next 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So B to B plus for me.
I would like to see that. The problems I was having when I was playing Brotherhood before, which was a while ago, like you were saying, the Malekith lists basically came down to a lot of coin flips, and obviously with the nerf to Mal, that gets better for you. But now with Cosmic Ghost Rider and Thanos being either new or buffed, I feel like those models are also bad for them just because of the threat range they engage with or the board control they have. And I think the scenario lists have not been hit nearly enough for you to have a fair matchup into any of them. And so I feel like with the number of... I feel like they're really bad at fighting go wides and go talls. And those are still 2 of the most popular build types, So
I would love to see how they do into Cosmic Ghost Rider, because in theory, a Mag's magnetic refraction Juggernaut team doesn't take any fucking damage from his builders. I mean, ish compared to. I
would like to see the math on that, but yeah, no, for sure. Juggernaut's not his target though, right? Like Juggernaut can live as long as he wants, as long as everybody else is dying. And the problem really is if you lose Prio, you're not getting magnetic refraction because he's probably going to down Magneto.
If he downs Magneto, you've got Prio back. But yeah, I get it.
Sure.
I just think that team does better. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I would like to see it. I would like to see Brotherhood into CGR.
And like Mags is great and all, but like we've talked about how the Cosmic Penance Stare, like you punch through basically anything. Like, and so if you've got no damage on you, even if we're assuming you have cover and full defense of 5, I think it is, your average block is 2.5 plus a DR make it 3.5. The Cosmic Penance Stare hits for like 9, and so like you're still taking a big chunk.
Yeah,
even if you're
spenders are a thing. So
yeah,
dice calculator, the builder should do 1.5 damage into Jugs. Granted, he's not the expected target, but
yeah,
again, compared to other people, I don't know. Bill's probably actually even less expected damage if you're to run him under magnetic refraction.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see the matchup.
That's assuming you have the cover and you have power, though, and you're within the cover. Like, so on the first turn, if Jug's just staying in your deployment zone, like he wouldn't attack him, right? So it's only if he's like gone out to get an objective, and so then you have to like double move, pick up an objective with jugs, and not like not slide back, and then to keep your power, and then you're just closer to him, so that he gets to pull you out of cover anyway, even if you spend the power on turn 1 to play it. And again, I haven't played the matchup either, but it just seems like it would be so hard for Mags to ever deal with him while he's just picking up your entire team.
Fair enough. Any other Brotherhood comments?
I just can't see affiliation that has Brotherhood in it, or I'm sorry, Juggernaut in it, and Mystique in it, and an incredible slew of tactics cards, and was the hotness a year ago, and really nothing changed, and suddenly it just kind of disappeared like a puff of smoke. It's just weird. It just became a different flavor of the month. I think it's I think they're better than people think they are right now. I think they're fine.
They left because the mission pack changed. That's why they went away. Because it used to be it was much lower scoring, so you could get to bully people a lot more.
Yeah, and I mean they're one of the few that can go tall or wide pretty easily, at least in my mind. So I don't know. I think that Avengers have so many great tools. It's just you have easy mode versus non-easy mode, right? Like I want to win a tournament, so I'm not going to take them anymore, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, what's next?
The next one is Cabal.
I put Cabal in A tier.
I also put Cabal in A tier.
I will put Cabal in. I'll put them in A tier.
Let's go quad A tiers for Cabal.
I will say, I think Cabal is the weakest team I have slotted in A.
I was going to say it's an A-, man.
Yeah,
it is. It's A-.
They're
It's an
right
A-.
there. But the reason I have them in A and not in B is because they have a variety of play styles within their own archetype, and they have a plethora of great models and multiple leaders. Like they can come at you many different ways, even if that's ends up being the same general concept every time. There's just so many good Cabal members, and they're good at doing their job.
Is it just me, or the difference between what we're talking about S tier and A tier? Avengers versus Cabal is like night and day. Like how fucking good Avengers are. It's just so ridiculous.
That's why like S tier is a problem. Like they're clearly outside the curve.
Because I mean, I'm trying to put I'd love, because they do have tons of tools. Like Cabal has every tool. They have 1 billion models. They have great cards, and I'm like, do they compete with that? Like, are they A? Like, they've got to be, right? Like, yeah. I mean, they even have Malekith. Well, Jesus Christ. Like,
well, how about this now with the Malekith nerf? How many models can you say are just straight unfair for Cabal?
Unfair.
I would say probably Red Skull 2. Red Skull 2 feels a little unfair sometimes.
You're right.
But that's pretty much it. So
I might even like. There's always like whack-a-mole, right? Like honestly, like if CGR went away tomorrow, then we'd all bitch about Red Skull 2, and that's not potentially unjustified. But if Red Skull 2 was the upper limit of what is overpowered in the game, like I could live with that game.
No, yeah, them getting CGR is just making up for the fact that Mal got nerfed, basically. Like if we were just talking about the Mal nerf, I think they'd obviously be B tier. But now that they have access to CGR, it's a whole new ball game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of tempo and aggression they have is what sets them apart from like A-Force and Brotherhood.
I'm a little confused.
A-Force
access to CGR. What do you mean by access to CGR?
No, it's the tempo. Oh, just because he fits so well within their archetype.
Oh,
like Thanos and Guardians, it's just such a perfect marriage with all the inner workings that it just like is a natural place.
They can run.
Obviously, you could. Yeah,
go ahead.
You could just play him in the list so easily, and
Got it.
Like Aaron was saying, he fits perfectly at like so many point totals with the synergies that you already have built into your list. But like that's what sets Cabal apart for me from Brotherhood and A-Force, because Brotherhood and A-Force have kind of a tempo problem. Brotherhood has obviously Asteroid M, and A-Force has Special Delivery, which is great, but like Cabal is doing that every fucking turn. Like you have CGR plus the Red Skull Place plus Malekith Ferocity. Like so much of their list is so good about getting to you and doing what they want to do, not just doing things. And so like that's really what sets them apart.
A minus.
I think people will stop playing Malekith for the next 3 months and then realize he's actually not that bad, and he will be fair and balancedly played in about 5 months from now.
And let's not forget that the new Red Skull Master of the World also has another place. Like he has that too. So even if you went with the other Red Skull, you still get that mobility, that tempo piece. If you want to go with a different style.
What is it? It's cost 4, choose within 2. Oh shit! It's a place 3.
It's
Nice.
Scalpel.
Ooh.
It's Scalpel, and you could pay for it off of other characters, not him.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, I did not consider any of the new core set when deciding my rankings. This
Yes.
is
Yeah,
a free
I
core
was just-
set ranking.
I was just saying as a
Yep.
plus.
Yep.
Well, that's mostly for listeners, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's next?
The next faction is Convocation.
So I'm going to firmly say this is a D, and I have a follow-up.
I actually put them in C, and I also have a follow-up.
I'm just going to follow Brandon. He's got the most experience with them than I do, and we've talked about it before. D.
A tier.
Ah.
Wow.
Uh,
Our first strongly divergent picks. Okay, go Brandon.
My follow-up is entirely that I have not had time to play them or even list build for them in recent days, and obviously a lot of shit has changed. I really want to try some new stuff with them, but the last experience I had was very much like Brotherhood. They just can't compete with the scoring lists in the current meta. And the only way they do compete with it is by trying to kill all of the models that are scoring. And they don't do that nearly fast enough compared to affiliations like Guardians and Cabal. So I don't currently have any experience with them being successful in the current mission packet. But I also haven't tried as hard as I can. So I really hope I'm wrong, because they have really fun tools. But I don't have any evidence of that at the current time.
My evidence is that the last TTS season featured Avengers versus Convocation in the final.
Mm-hmm.
Convocation scares the ever-living shit out of me. I think they're the definition of A, maybe A minus. Like, I would not be shocked if a good pilot was able to take them and win something. That leadership is knucking futs. And as you said, they have a lot of great abilities on their cards and in their tactics. I think it takes a lot of experience to pilot them well, but the number of models you can splash in that affiliation to take advantage of that leadership is insane, right? Which is why it's so hard, because you really have to commit to Convocation for a long time. But since they're a little bit of a dark horse, like, how many WTC reps have we played into Convocation to get ready for it? 0. I will probably lose to Convocation to WTC because of that.
I don't know about that.
Sure.
But...
I'm just saying, I think a good Convocation player can beat a lot of really good players who just aren't ready for that matchup. And maybe some who are. Because it's not like you have like super anti-combo tools. Like, a lot of those have to be, like, anti-mystic is something you want to bring, but if you're already bringing tools to deal with Thanos and Hulk and CGR, given the low popularity of Convocation, maybe you don't bring those mystic. Like, I need 40 tools, I can only bring 20. So these 20 don't get to come today. It's usually the anti-mystic that doesn't get to come, because the other ones are more prevalent in the meta. Anyway, I can just see Convocation doing well in a tournament. Would not shock me. And I think they're really good. They're just missing a flag bearer.
I put them in C tier because I feel like they have some really interesting plays, and you could absolutely get stronger with them. However, I feel like you just get stopped by the fact that they're, unless maybe you're going out of faction specifically to try to face this, I feel like they're all made of paper, and they all have awesome tricks to make sure they don't, get punched every single round and just fall down for no reason. And when they do, eventually they just fold so fast and hard. So even in a straight up fight, they can lose really quick. And in a scenario battle, like Brandon alluded to, they're not premier scenario plays. So I do not see them going to a final round. I would be shocked. You telling me that, as soon as you said it, that shocked me. It did not go, ooh, that makes perfect sense. That shocked me, and therefore
Okay.
they're C.
Same.
Jeremy, you have any comments?
No, I have very little experience with that.
Okay, I will amend my official grade down to a B, but it's still a
I
high
wasn't-
B.
I wasn't trying to get you to move.
Yeah,
I didn't think we were allowed to argue people's. Hold on, wait. We need to go back to A-Force then. If we could make people move their rating.
No. So I'm making a list, so we have our combined infamous, and we'll have A
Yeah.
through Z.
Okay.
So if
Cool.
anyone changes their rating based off of discussion, let me know and I'll input it.
So I'm just looking at our lists here, and I'm wondering how many fucking affiliations you guys have. You must have a giant bell curve where I have mine pretty evenly spaced out through all the, because I did 6 tiers, not 5 like you guys did, and so
I'm 38733. So yes,
yeah.
and
So
to be honest, I think that's correct. And maybe we're not. Maybe it's not. But
so when I started trying to merge them down to 5, I was like, man, I think there should be an extra spot here because I don't agree with these in these places.
Sure.
But also, it's interesting that we have different viewpoints.
I did not have that much of a bell curve. Mine were more evenly spread.
Mm-hmm. What's next, Parker?
The next is Criminal Syndicate.
Man, people are going to hate me. B tier.
I had them in A.
I would love to say B, but based on my experience recently, I'm going to have to say A.
I also said A.
Sorry. Bum, bum, bum.
I've gone
these
first.
guys are good.
I've gone first quite a bit. Someone else go first this time.
I'll go first.
I think.
Go ahead.
Okay, you go for it.
I think whenever I hear the Criminal Syndicate's done well in a tournament, I go, okay, well, they must have gotten the scenarios they wanted, because they are one of those affiliations, whether you're playing the Killy version or the Kingpin version. If you get the scenarios to pop up, if you roll, if you flip a coin and flip heads 3 times, and the 4th round you flipped tails, but you still managed to pull it out, I don't know how you lose the 3 heads, right? I don't know how you lose. The coin toss is so stacked in your favor if you're playing hard for that, whatever it is. Because I think they are superb at their game plans. Literally, it's written into Kingpin that his models are better than your models at his game plan. And that is why I think they can absolutely be there, and it doesn't surprise me at all. I go, okay, so they must have gotten the scenarios they wanted, and if they did, they won. That's what happened.
So I'm going to add a little something to that. So over the last, I guess it's year, Kingpin changed from just having that additional, worth 2 points per model. Now they actually have really good fucking models. Ulik is insane, and Rhino is insane. Both of those models now being included in Criminals. Criminals are not okay right now. They will fucking kill you. They won't just stand there like potatoes. They will fucking kill you. So,
Well, I mean, Rhino's kind of a potato, but yeah.
He can get anywhere, though. A potato sits.
He does. I will tell you,
And
he rolls
He
downhill.
will throw the fuck out of you, too, and take your shit. So, anywho, the point is, they're no longer just potatoes. They have to be dealt with, and it's a problem. So, they have actions they can take on scenarios that they don't like, which is a problem. That shifts them, to me, from that B to an A. Like, they no longer worry so much about the scenarios that aren't great for them, because they can simply fight you, and they can fight better than you can at times, and it's rough. So, anyway, that's my opinion.
I agree with Parker still. I think that they are heavy RNG dependent in both mission and matchup, because, I do agree with what you're saying, though, Jeremy. Their models have changed from stand there and durdle to stand there and kill you, which is great. Obviously it's an upgrade, but also at the same time, a lot of their average model cost has gone up. And so they are lower model count. And if you can basically have similar models to them, you've got other brawly guys that are not pushovers, like you have a decent shot, but the thing you need is a lot of board control, or you need a lot of killing. And I don't think they've gone up to that tier yet, but that's just my experiences. In a lot of my games, and also I play webs a lot, so I haven't played that much into criminals lately, but most of my games have been either easy win laughers or like my opponent spiked a couple rolls and made it close, and that was mostly what happened. I just have never I haven't ever had the respect for criminals since the old change that made Aaron quit criminals.
You're gonna make me want to pick them up again, aren't you? Trash my criminals.
I would rather play criminals than fucking Avengers. I'll tell you that right fucking now.
Okay. I don't have anything else to add. They're solid A for everything that Jeremy said. I think a lot of the meta plays the missions they want to play, which is most of them. So
that is true.
It's not a coin flip. Get your missions. It's flip a coin 3 times, and if you got a head on 3 of them, then you lose. Like that's where they're at.
Yeah, that's probably a better summarization. Yeah.
And their lose plan is, I guess, our own MODOK too, who is not a bad model / leader. So I think being forced into a Shadowlands plan was bad for them. Like they didn't have a good plan B. I think MODOK solved that along with the models that Jeremy talked about, and then you solve their big model problem by going super small with your weenies who stay behind, like Wong and Bullseye. But sometimes they don't fight the best. Like they can fight, but they can also die. So they're not S, but they're A.
Their leadership is just dumb.
Yeah, I've always agreed with Kingpin's leadership is probably the best leadership in the whole game. I don't even know if that's really that close.
If you don't have control,
yeah,
you just have to have control against it, honestly.
Just imagine if Thanos had Kingpin's leadership.
Oh, whatever.
All right, what's next?
After criminals is the Dark Dimension.
Y'all are gonna upset
F.
Oh.
My lowest ranking is D, but whatever the lowest ranking is, that.
Yeah, bury him under the prison. Keep going.
It's a D or an F or whatever. It's the worst.
I both concur, and will bring them tomorrow and make you both eat your fucking words.
So wait, this is you just jumping in. You didn't get anybody a chance to say anything.
Yeah, hold on.
The one thing I do want to say is that their rules are actually really good. The problem is Dormammu is a giant sack of fucking dildos. So you're trying to overcome that. And I'm just saying that the longer the game goes on, the better the odds of that happening. So, like, it's not like they're impossible to be good, like another couple affiliations that we've listed. It's just that, they're just not in a good spot right now. Because the models have not come out to justify the all-inclusive affiliations like this in Hellfire yet. I will say them having another one of this type of leadership does not do well for Dormammu, but...
Some of my favorite games I've ever played have been played with Dormammu. I mean, even though it is... you winning a tournament with this is... A large tournament, I'm going to say, is nigh impossible. But winning some of the games you're going to win with it are complete wipeout bloodbaths. Like, it does some really cool shit that other things that you just can't get from other things. It's pretty neat.
I would actually like to take back what I said a second ago. The more I think about it, this is the worst affiliation in the entire game. It's not even close.
It kills your own models, for Christ's sake.
But I think that's a credit to the game designers. If this is the worst affiliation in the game, it's like you can win games with this.
You can. I've won lots of games with it.
I've won lots of games with Dark Dimension as well. But it's just like it's a bad bet, right? Like it's hitting on 17. You shouldn't do it. Like it doesn't make sense.
I think it's even worse. It's hitting on 18.
It's like hitting on 19
worse, dude.
Because the dealer's showing a 10, and you're like, no, like. He's going to beat me if he's got another 10. I'm like, yeah, but you have 19. He's like, watch this. I'm like, don't watch!
I also like to live dangerously.
Like,
yeah, it's bad.
You have 19. when the dealer pauses to explain how busting works to you, you're like, nah, man, I'm gonna hit still.
It's really fun until you have two models dazed on your own turn.
Yeah.
And
Like,
anybody
you're like, really?
anybody who tells me like I'm going to bring a Dark Dimension, like Aaron said, like anybody says I got an awesome Dark Dimension list, I go, it's probably really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like it's probably fun as hell. Like you really levied that that hero, the leadership to make that work really well. Like I get it, but you're not going to tournament. You're joking.
If Dormammu was 7 points and they moved his damage thing to the cleanup phase, honestly, I think he'd be Dark Horse competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he'd be good.
He's not that far away. He's just currently the worst. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Next one is the Defenders.
B. Leave. In
Interesting.
Defenders.
I put them in B as well.
I am changing. I can't be in any Parkers.
We've actually been pretty similar a couple times.
I'm gonna go with A.
Ooh.
I'm with Jeremy. They're A.
Ooh. So what makes them A?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Parkers just throws his hands.
I am so incredulous right now.
So one of the reasons that it's A is because it's the new hotness. So some of the best players are going to be playing it because it's really, really good. So if one of the things that we're looking at is what's going to win a large tournament, some great players are going to be playing it. So most likely one of these is going to climb out and do it. 2, it's got some really, really good shit in it. This new Daredevil thing is legit. So seeing good models with a good leadership, finally, it's legit. That's why.
If your argument is just that the volume of Defenders players is so high right now, I guess I can see that, but I'm rating assuming an average field. I do think New Defenders is solid. I think it's a really competitive team, but I think they're... How do I say this? While being good, I don't think they do anything you can't find somewhere else, and so the fact that they would set themselves apart by climbing the ladder to as the best affiliations in the entire game, that doesn't seem right. But also, I might just not have seen it yet. So,
another thing about Defenders is one of the things people often said is exactly that. You go, okay, all these models that are Defenders are also in their other affiliations doing what those affiliations want to do more in their own affiliations. So Defenders is this hodgepodge. So then you would look for, okay, what brings them together? You're like, okay, a tactics card that's playable by 2 of the models. That's it. Like that's the Defenders thing. And now there is a leadership which benefits you diving in and attacking back on their turn also because it's once per turn. But that's again that's it. So there's not a lot of things that Defenders offers still to this day that is different or spicier than the affiliated models they have. Yeah.
And it's not like these models being affiliated with each other is a rarity. There's 3 other affiliations that most of these models are also in.
Yes.
That's really why are they setting themselves apart when they probably have the worst overall bonuses for the models within their own faction.
Now,
there's just a few exclusive models that are affiliated in there. But again, they don't give a shit if you're affiliated, right? There's no Defenders thing that says Defender models do X. So all you need is to cross the 50% line to get okay bonuses. You just play Midnight Suns to do that. And if you don't want to play Blade, I get it. He's not the best individual model. Daredevil's better. And so, moving on to other things, you can't tell me you can't get affiliated in Avengers. Sure. Then do something else, but
Aaron, why is the leadership really good? Go ahead.
It's fucking nuts. So, listening to you guys, killing myself over here. I might have found my affiliation, and it's Defenders.
Nope, it's mine. We talked about this last week. It's mine.
No, it's
no. I call bullshit. Anybody who says their affiliation is now Defenders because of Daredevil precisely, they're wrong.
I was the original Strange. Get out of here.
You guys.
I drove Jeremy out of the game twice with Strange.
Damn it.
So it was just really weird for me to say because I am a I would call it thinking man's player. I sit there and I strategize the best move, and I have no problem playing, steal webs and just run away to the corner and shit. And we'll win games. I play to win. I have been playing Defenders lately, and oh my god, this is so much fun. and all I'm doing is rolling buckets and buckets and buckets of dice at my opponents. When Daredevil wakes up, moves long, and rolls 60 fucking dice, it's amazing. And re-roll 6. Who fucking does that? No one.
Why does he reroll 6?
Because there's 6 models within 2.
Yeah, that feels like an opponent problem.
Not really, because I'm playing on spiders, and I move all his guys together because we're playing on demons. I mean, obviously, stuff it happened once so far in about 5 or 6 games. But routinely, being able to play, so I'm playing Ulik with Wong, the best model in the game, and so Ulik is crushing leap turn 1. What's Ulik's problem? Oh, dice mods. Got it. What if we just almost guarantee a reroll 2 on your 6 dice that generates power that then turns into more leaping crushes or throws. So the reroll mechanics that defenders give snowballs. And so you play those with models who love dice mods like Ulik and Daredevil himself and Wolverine and others. And oh my god, that is just so much fun. It's also really fucking good because what I really think every affiliation has to have, and I've said this before, is an I kill you button. Like, stuff happens in the game, it's now turn 4, I have prio, I have to kill model X, or X and Y to win the game. Defenders have that in spades. I am not sure what the optimum list for defenders is. I'm still experimenting with a lot of fun shit, but there's definitely gold to be mined somewhere in this affiliation. So I think it will be an A+ level affiliation in about 2 to 3 months once people have figured it out. And I want to be one of those people.
Okay. What's next?
I don't even want to go on. I'm so sure that's wrong. The next affiliation is...
I don't think it's right either. I do think people have an over fondness for dice mods, and so I think because it makes their bad decisions look better when it succeeds, and so I think a lot of people overvalue dice mods, and so I think Aaron's not wrong that they'll be popular, but I don't know if they'll be the most powerful things in the game. But I think they are good.
The next affiliation is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Speaking of bad factions that have dice mods, I'm going to kill Aaron here. Aaron's going to die. So if I say D... no, I'm just kidding. A, I'm going to put them in A, which I'm sure is below Aaron.
I put them in S.
A.
I had them at S.
I fucking knew it, you fucking coward.
If the definition is they're expected to win tournaments, how many times do we see them on the top of the roster and go, okay, well, that makes sense? And the other problem is they're not future-proof because Star-Lord could get fixed, but as long as a 3-point leader that's as good as Star-Lord is providing that leadership, every single time they print another model in the game, you have to wonder, what if they just drop that in Guardians? And then they made CGR in Guardians. Like, I don't see them ever struggling to win tournaments. Ever. And that's why they're S.
My biggest problem is I don't actually respect the winging it tokens. I actually don't think they're very good. I know the math is decent, but, like, really what the power of leadership is not the math. The power of leadership is when you can just cause spikes to happen. And that's obviously very strong, but I just don't like relying on dice. I've used winging it tokens a lot. I played Guardians for several months, and sure, you get the spikes, but like the reason the Thanos list was so strong is not because you had winging it tokens. It was completely fucking irrelevant. It was just the best package to play with Thanos.
Yeah, and that's
so like adding the winging it on top of it is nice, but like if you could have just made it Avengers, you would have. Like, there's just not a good list. Like, the models aren't there. Like, in my opinion, it's literally the models in the roster that are also affiliated is why it's good, and nothing else.
I didn't mention that, but yes, you're correct.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, the reason I don't put them in S tier is because the reason that they win tournaments are effectively splash models that also get played elsewhere. And so it's just them leaning on strong models that aren't affiliated with them, except for CGR, which is, I guess, technically affiliated with them, but like, who fucking cares? Like, it doesn't really matter except for Cruella Milano.
Sure, but due to
But
an
he is in their affiliation.
8-point core and a leadership that strongly benefits any model in the game, like, sure, it might not be the core models of that affiliation that are winning the game, but it's still that affiliation, if that
They
makes sense.
have the best cheap core get affiliated in the game, and a generic leadership that works on all models. Like, there's no argument against them being good. I listed them as A tier.
Sure.
I just don't think they do anything that makes them clearly apart from anybody else other than have cheap models. And you could literally just play that in Avengers, and it'd probably be fine. Like, we saw what Guardians looked like for several years before the Thanos list and before the CGR list, and they were just okay. And so CGR is splashable in multiple factions and is being splashed in multiple factions, and yes, he makes everyone better because he's broken. And so, like, if and when he gets fixed, like, it's not a Guardians nerf, it's a broken model nerf. And so I just don't respect them as much as other people do, and I get that I'm low on Guardians.
I suppose this wasn't a matter of respect for me. This is a matter of the pudding, right? The proof is there.
Yeah,
they're expected to win.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
The next affiliation is Hellfire Club.
D.
I had no fucking idea. I literally
Did you
threw a
say
dart.
Again,
I threw a
Did you
dart.
say D?
Delta.
He said Delta.
But remember, I have an F category, so they're just.
I threw a dart in the wall with this one. I just tried to put them in the middle because I didn't know what the hell. I put B because I don't know where they should go. I was at a loss. This is the only affiliation that I was like, I don't know. B.
Yeah, I feel like. Oh, sorry, Jeremy has gone yet.
C. I don't really have experience either.
I gave them A.
My biggest problem with them, I think they're just like, obviously, Dark Dimension. They're only going to get better as time goes on. But I don't really see any lists right now that, again, stand out from the rest of the pack, other than, like, the super tanky list, which is just whatever. The Steely list exists in a lot of different places. Like, Steelers that can get extra power is great. And so it's kind of efficient by just having them all auto-affiliated. But then Emma's not really doing anything for you other than being a leader that has a leadership, which is okay. And so it's just, I don't know, it doesn't feel strong yet. I haven't seen anyone unlock the list yet that I'm afraid of. It just looks like a pile of models, which I understand is supposed to be Hellfire Club. It's just a kind of pile of models. But yeah, I don't think they set themselves apart right now. And so for that, I kind of have them in the bottom of the barrel, but above the joke factions.
Wow, we couldn't be further apart.
Yep.
I think they are one rung below Sam Vengers in terms of a scenario faction. They are a tankier version without the movement on the leadership. And obviously they don't have Avengers Assemble. But that leadership is really good. And the fact that you can take any model is also really good. Emma brings them down compared to Sam. Like, I do not think they're on Avengers level. But to put them at anything less than about an A-, I think is wrong. I think a lot of people have been doing well with them recently. I don't know what else to say.
I will say that if they were to ban Avengers, it'd be really interesting if people would just pick up Hellfire in their place and just play the collection of good models. But that's the problem. I guess right now it's like every time nobody's doing that because, like, why wouldn't you just play Sam? Like, you're just losing a point to have worse stuff.
Yeah, you're correct. Sam is a better list.
And that's really just all it is like, we're eventually going to see that list where it's like, oh, I found the combination of models that aren't allowed anywhere else. And it's like, oh, no. And, like, I'm actually afraid of when that's going to happen. I haven't seen it yet. So. What's next?
The next is Hydra.
C.
I actually put them in A.
C.
And I had them at B.
I do love me some Hydra. But yeah, I would be surprised to see Hydra. Like, if you're like, oh, I splashed Hydra in my Cabal list, I would not. That would be fine. Obviously, I would expect that to do well. But just like running pure Hydra as your main drop, I don't see why it's winning.
I went with it because they have a lot of unfair models that punish you hard for failing, right? If you don't get them down. And unlike some of the other affiliations that all those models are like 4-costers, a lot of these models are 3-costers. And so you can really fill up a roster full of really stupendous 3-costers that are way harder than they should be, and attrition you down. They have a lot of responses, a lot of strong responses. So when you do hurt somebody, then all of a sudden you get responded a whole bunch of ways. You never get to do anything for free against them. Also, one of the kind of what Aaron, I think part of mine was clouded by the fact that I know they've done well at some events, playing just like standard human dudes. Here's a bucket of dudes. Can you beat my dudes, gods and aliens? Oh, you can't? Cool, I won the tournament. I've seen that happen.
So obviously Red Skull's great. Like, who else in the faction do you think is like an unfair model?
Zemo's pretty fucking good.
Zemo's great, but Zemo's, also in Cabal and like, he's splashable and pretty much everywhere.
I think it's the fact that they do like Red Skull, Bob, Zemo, your Spider Woman, and it used to be, and the old formula was like Nick Fury Senior and Bucky, right? And then Crimson Dynamo. And you're just like, okay, try to kill all my guys, and as you kill them all, I'm going to beat you. Because I have too many attacks on you, too many opportunities to beat you. You won't have as many opportunities as I will to beat you. And if you ever fail to beat any of these models, they will come back to life with healing or other kind of effects. So, or just do more damage to you than you did to me.
I guess it's just, in my experience, like those, stand there and grind it out teams just never win, because stuff like Avengers, you'll run into it at some point in the upper ranks and you'll just get blown out.
Didn't they win the Vegas Invitational that we all went to and all qualified for? Isn't it?
He came in second. Shield won.
Shield.
Oh, no. I thought he was playing Hydra.
No. He played against Hydra.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He played Hydra before that. That's right. It was a semi-final round that Hydra was in. That's right.
Like I said, I think Hydra's a solid team, but I think the fair teams, like, and you could even argue Hydra's not even really a fair team, but they kind of go about it the fair way. Like, it's like, we're just going to line up, I'm just going to beat the shit out of you while trying to keep my own guys alive. I just don't think those teams do well currently in the meta.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had it at B, but they were on the same level as like Asgard, Spider-Foes, Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Like,
whoa.
Spoiler alert.
There's about to be some screaming. Like, hold on.
I mean,
All right,
they are.
We better get moving on.
Everything they do is good, but they don't have one shtick. Like Avengers have a shtick, right?
What sets them apart?
Cabal has a shtick. Malekith, CGR, Red Skull, run it down your throat. So nothing sets them apart other than some of the cool things they can do. So I can see some people wanting to play Hydra to, for the cool stuff. They have a lot of flexibility. They have 2 good leaders at different threat totals. They can play Sleeper Agent Hulk. Or maybe Sleeper Agent CGR now. Probably a horrible idea. But
that'd be bad.
They can go tall, they can go wide. They have a lot of flexibility with good models.
It's like a control brawly list, which is the way I like to play it.
Yep.
And I think it has legs. I just think you'll run into one of the A-listers and you just get knocked out. Because you don't have anything that sets you apart from them, because you're just doing good stuff. And they're doing good stuff with unfair models, and you're doing good stuff with mostly fair models.
I amended mine. I brought them down from A to B. I was convinced. I felt like they were A minus B plus, and you guys changed my mind.
I'll give you. I'm sticking with B plus.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Solid B. I'm not. If you put them in the same group as Brotherhood, I think you're correct.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that tier is lower than what you guys think it is.
Fair enough.
So that's all it is. What's next?
Next one is Inhumans.
What's F minus? Now I put Inhumans in C, and I fully expect to get screamed at.
No, bro. C also.
Aaron's gonna have a stroke because of his age, not because of what we're saying.
Inhumans are B.
I gave them an A.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you actually didn't put them in S.
Aaron,
I feel like we to get to S.
I feel like we need to rename the trash tier system to the star tier system, because you can only give things glowing reviews. I love it.
Yeah, you guys are just getting in here with these numbers creep. You just want everything to be good, and I get it. But okay. So Inhumans, they've yet to show me anything that you can't do elsewhere, right? Like that's really what it is. I think they have good models as an average. Obviously, Black Bolt's upgrade's pretty good. Yeah, like what are they doing that like X or maybe not even X? What are they doing that like X-Men Blue isn't doing? Like you get a better turn one, but a worse every other turn.
Yeah, I feel like even though Black Bolt definitely got an upgrade, losing Winter Soldier and Black Cat. Black Cat. I guess you didn't lose Black Cat, but what you wanted her to do in Inhumans with Black Cat, which is first turn steals, losing that is enormous. So Inhumans lost a lot of their traditional lines of play. So unless somebody shows me something new that Black Bolt gets by protecting, then I'm all ears. But I feel like they're definitely C.
So they just came in second at the York Weekender last weekend.
And that shocks me. That's why they're C.
And that shocks me.
Yeah.
I chopped this up to the Jeremy argument. If there was how many fucking people were playing them because they were new.
5 out of 64.
Only
I
5.
think.
That seems low. I think you're lying. I thought you told me there was like 9.
I'm not gonna look it up right now. I don't think there were 9. No.
They're probably 19.
They're probably only 19 players.
So they have probably a top 5 leadership in the game. They have solid models. I think I'm with you guys in terms of I need to see it, but I believe it's there. If that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, maybe I could drop them down to B if I really wanted to, but I really would not be surprised at all to see them win. But I think they're going to take some reps for someone to figure out exactly what models they want to run and how they're going to run their turn ones. Once they get it figured out, like I would be very scared of that person.
They're definitely a list that rewards long-term play because there's kind of like Hydra. There's an infinite amount of combinations of abilities that you can make with all your overlapping abilities and transferring of power. And
right, but unlike Hydra, they have a shtick.
Well, I think Hydra has kind of a shtick, but yeah, I understand that they're doing something for their splash models that Hydra isn't, right? They're giving a unique effect of being able to give you effectively unlimited power at any point in time. But that's not at no cost, is my point. And I respect that that's a really strong ability. If leadership was just every turn when you activate a model, give a power to a model within 3 of them, like it'd be insane. But like you're taking that power from somebody who could probably have utilized it in some way. Even if it's not right now, on future turns, you're going to come up 1 power short where you would have been. And so I totally respect the piling all your resources one place to use them more efficiently, but it's not free.
I totally agree. I just think the tempo you can get with that turn 1 is hard to quantify. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if it pushes them into the A to S tier or if it's going to keep them at the B tier. I don't know. So they're A for now until I see where they get to.
In my opinion, the X-Men Blue leadership is about twice as good as the Inhuman leadership in effectiveness. The problem is one is reactive to effects and one is proactive. And that is a nearly insurmountable change. And so we'll just have to see how it goes.
Fair enough.
I will say after playing them a bunch, you cannot quantify exactly what it's like to pool power, to like have it as a fluid mechanic. It's really hard to quantify how many different ways you can use it. It's fantastic. But I haven't figured out how to break it again. I felt like I broke it before, but now I don't know how to break it now. So we'll see. Next is Midnight Suns.
A.
B.
Did you say B?
Yep.
I went A.
Jeremy just wants to be different. I respect that.
Okay.
Always I don't respect that.
Immortal Hulk is still broken and needs to be fucking fixed. And until that happens, they will be A tier. I don't think anyone can convince me otherwise. I almost wanted to put them in S tier. I just don't think I could justify it. There's just games that you're just going to lose. And it doesn't even require good dice rolls. Like, you just line up and Immortal Hulk's on the other side. If you get the wrong missions, it's in the cards. You're dead. Like, you're just not going to get there.
I feel they have the exact same situation against them, though. That some games they just lose because of exactly the same thing. Immortal Hulk doesn't roll wilds, and he just loses.
Sure, so you can roll bad and lose, but that's true of every single affiliation in the game. If you just roll dogfish the whole time.
Your 7-point anchor, though. Or
sure, but yes, and so because you have tall models. Sure, because you have tall models, you're going to make less dice rolls, so it's
Yeah.
harder to get outside of the bad curve. But you also have access to bats. You can guarantee the one throw you really need. And it's like the damage you need to generate, you don't necessarily need to hit a bunch of wilds. And so if you're just replacing the wilds with hits, you're probably okay in several games. Now, there's obviously the closer matches, you kind of need a decent amount of those wilds to show up. But it's not like you need all the wilds. Even if you only hit half of the throws, you're probably in fine shape still, which is, I would say, noticeably below the curve. It's just like, if you get complete fish dice, you're going to lose. But the problem is, like, they have the option to not play him. And so if they're in a situation where, the coin flip ends up bad, you're on a bad mission, you can play something else. Because you're only in for, like, 4 models at that point. Like, you can play an entirely different roster and still be fine. And so, yeah, I have a problem with it because they just invalidate half the game. Like, all these fight fair in the middle lists, 100% lose on this game. Like, it is so hard for you to do anything about
I
it.
feel like that's Immortal Hulk. That doesn't have to do with...
Right, but I mean, it's their flagstone model right now.
If
you take Voodoo out of Avengers, they're not S tier, so...
I was actually going to say, I don't think it's about Immortal Hulk. I think it's about the bump. I don't know how many times I've been playing as Midnight Suns, and now I think after like a dozen games, I've finally starting to expect the bump. But I don't know how many times I've been like, okay, well, they're out of position, so I can leave that model there and not worry about them. And like, bump, I'm like, God damn it, I forgot the bump. I forgot because every model in their affiliation is not actually there. They're within one of there. And that could be so enormous.
Well, with the base size, it's so hard to like plan that though, because like the large base, and when you start trying to make plans, well, then they'll just bump in a different way. They'll bump away from you, or all these. Like it turns out, like telekinesing all of your models is really fucking good.
Yes, it is. The fact that their army is not where their army is, or rather, their models are not where their models are, is so difficult to plan for. And then they don't have bad models. They don't have models that are bad.
I would be surprised to see them at a top table.
Really?
I mean, we don't see it often.
I mean, they won Show Me. You were surprised that they won Show Me?
What, they won Show Me? I thought it was CGR that won Show Me.
No. Immortal Suns with Malekith Splash won, or Midnight Suns with Malekith won Show Me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, with Malekith. Okay.
Yeah. No, he completely dumpstered the CGR player.
Gotcha.
And then the semifinals was the Midnight Suns Mirror.
Gotcha.
Like they were 3 of the top 4 players.
Yep, and that's when it first came out. Yeah. That was the hotness at the time. And Malekith
it was a little after, but yeah, they were still pretty
with
new.
anything, sure. I mean, whatever. I just don't think... I don't think that's a viable option for a 5-round tournament of more than 24 players. I don't see that consistent.
I do think you need to have a plan B. I think just only ever putting Hulk on the table, I don't think that necessarily works, but they're actually a good go-wide roster too. Like, they're not the best, but
they are. I
solid.
just I don't think they have the consistency that they need to win something large.
I think with the nerf to Malekith, they have effectively made there no counter to Hulk, and so your only answer is to outscore him before he kills you.
Yeah, it's trouble. I agree.
The only way I can see you doing is if you do like a silly tall roster with Cosmic Ghost Rider. I could maybe see that taken down, but it's only if you can get Prio. That's the only interaction. And that's really just the problem with Mortal Hulk. If they changed that interaction to where you didn't have to have Prio to kill him, I think it'd be fine. There should just be a way to kill him, and there's not.
I certainly am not arguing that Immortal Hulk is not okay. Immortal Hulk is certainly S tier. I agree.
If they had a 3-point leader that had bump,
that would not be okay.
S tier.
S tier.
S tier.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Sentinels.
F.
And next?
Yeah.
No, we're going to talk about this for 10 seconds.
Okay.
All right, give us your ratings.
My lowest is D. It's F.
Okay.
Same difference.
D for Dormammu and Dumpster.
I'm with Jeremy, except it's doggy doo-doo.
Mm-hmm. I do think Dark Dimension is worse than Sentinels, but it's not by a lot.
Yep.
I think they're on the exact same tier.
I think their archetype works. Their problem is that the Mark IV Sentinel is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
The next
So,
affiliation? Oh, okay.
Their core model of Bucky just got nerfed. So when you're playing Scent Prime, Cassandra Nova, and Bucky, which is already tenuous to begin with.
But
yeah.
Taskmaster got buffed, so
Okay. Yeah.
call it a trade.
Yeah. They also are very, very static. Like, sure, play them on an E all day long, but try playing Scent on a D, and competitively, you can't win against a competent player, right?
I will say one of the things about them is that Sentinels has this like giant Achilles heel that's absolutely enormous that also happens to be a key thing that everybody wants in their list, which is throwing size 4s. And so as soon as you I'm sorry, throwing unlimited size.
Yeah.
And so as soon as as soon as you put down your Sentinels list, your opponent goes, "Oh, good! I'll run my 3 models I picked specifically that can throw any size, because I did that to make sure I could get any size." But it just so happens to be broken.
Really not that many.
Once that got cut from Mal,
it's really just the Hulks, right?
There's like 5. Hulk, Red Skull 1.
Doesn't Logan throw any size with his
Kingpin? No, Kingpin's got erased.
Yeah,
not Kingpin, not Logan.
There's really not that many.
Rhino's card.
4.
Rhino's card throws any size, but you have to have an extract for that.
Black Bolt Spinner.
Yep. And you can mission objective to cancel that throw. So
I thought there was a couple of...
There's a handful.
Black Bolt size 4.
Oh, no, I thought
Thor's
it was
any size still, right?
Who's what?
Thor?
What'd you say, Jeremy?
Doesn't Thor's throw any size?
I believe he's 4. Thor 4.
No. Master Punches throw character short. Any size.
It is size 4 or less.
On Black Bolt's card. Oh, I'm sorry. It's
now.
not. It's way up high. Got it. The previous line.
Yeah.
My bad. So so it's now.
So there are not
Hulks.
that many, but the ones that do have any size get played, and not for the reason that they throw any size. You just conveniently throw on good models.
That's what. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. So 100% that's an issue. But like if you're running Brace and they only have one character that can throw you, it's not that bad. The problem was Malekith was the most popular list in the game, and he did it every single turn. Yeah. And it was just like, oh my god, and it was so much free damage. Conveniently, also, Cassandra Nova can ignore collisions, and so if you backstop your models with her, when she has extra power, you can use that to stop the collisions. So I think the collisions is actually mostly not an issue anymore.
But as of 2 weeks ago, so...
Correct, right. And so there's been no correction time. Also, there's not a big want to play them, because they are low on the list. And so I think they, actually coming out of this, they probably went up a noticeable chunk, but they were so low to start with that it's like not appreciable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just lack flexibility completely in their...
They do completely lack flexibility, because you have to play Cassandra Nova and Prime in every game, which is 10 points for 2 models. And so they're like worse than A-Force. Like you could be in for affiliated at 11. They're not even affiliated yet, and they're at 10.
Yeah. So,
and also you're getting their leadership and their tactics cards, which are both lackluster. It's not even like you're getting something great for
you are correct.
Their leadership is whatever. They do have several decent to very good tactics cards.
Great.
Directive 1 is good.
Sure, I'll give you one decent tactics card. Go.
Mark for death your opponent's list, also ignoring line of sight.
I said the one decent tactics card. You said several.
I think Under Your Skin is underrated when you combine it with, what's the other one? Efficient Machines, where you get to like change blocks to wilds. Make sure attack's really interesting. It's not the best. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying, like,
I can't tell you you're wrong
like their
without...
cards are trash.
Yeah, okay.
Don't act like their cards are trash. They have a very good card and some decent options.
Sure.
F+.
There you go.
I have them in F. They're in the worst category in the game.
They're doggy doo-doo in a bag.
Yeah.
I mean...
I have 2 other affiliations lower than them.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Shield.
Speaking of affiliations lower than them, no, I've got Shield at Bravo.
I have Shield at A.
B.
I also had them A.
I think the nerf to Bucky was relevant, and I think it's really not fair to rate them right now either, because they're about to get a new leader that we already know about, and they're going to be real fucking good when that happens. So, I think... I don't know. I guess X-Men getting nerfed was pretty effective towards making them better as well. I don't know. I'm probably too low on them, honestly.
Perrin played Punisher over Bucky before the nerf. So this nerf was like, my shield list didn't change, except now I can actually cut Bucky. Yeah, and it was still really good. Like, that was the only nerf to the list. Again, that Perrin wasn't even playing. And the rest of everything else that, hurt it, like X-Men, went down. So I don't see how it can't not be A.
Yeah, I feel like they are. You want to talk about like things that are just worse than Avengers? I feel like they are just barely below Avengers because they play a lot of the Avengers models, and a lot of the things that Avengers do they keep doing in Shield, and so they can't. I don't think they can't not be A. I don't think they'd lose 2 tiers by changing from, Captain America or Sam to Fury, because I think Fury is amazing. He's a super pushed model. So
Sure,
I think it's definitely an A.
I'm lost. You said why are they're dropping 2 tiers for what?
If they go from S, if Avengers is S, and then Shield is B, like I don't see it. I don't see them dropping 2 tiers just by switching out Fury, because most of the core of their list is the same as the Avengers list.
Is it? It's just Iron Man. It's like the only shared model of those 2 lists at all.
No, Iron Man, Black Widows, Hawkeyes, Spider-Woman.
I mean, are just generically affiliated? Sure. I'm just talking about the models people play. Like, you don't play any of those models in the Avenger list.
You don't play Black Widow.
I mean, you have Widow just because you need a 2-point affiliate, but your goal is to not play her. Like, she doesn't make the squad unless you just have a weird point total.
Sure, but that's true. Iron Man is in the squad. He's a Keystone member, both squads.
Yeah, no, Iron Man, super Keystone member, both squads.
Right, Spider-Woman, Keystone member, both squads. Like,
no, she's not played in Avengers at all. She doesn't even make the 10.
I think that's wrong. I think whoever does that is wrong, but that's fine.
Okay.
The point is,
I'm not going to argue. She is a great model.
Yeah.
Like, but she's not affiliated with Avengers, is she?
Spider-Woman, absolutely, yeah, she is.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I know that they don't play her.
Right. So, at any rate, I would just say that I think S.H.I.E.L.D. plays a very similar game plan that the Avengers does. They just have really strong models, and they have really great tactics cards. The tactics cards are nuts when you look at them. They took a lot of the banned tactics cards and just gave them to S.H.I.E.L.D., which is nuts. So I think they got to be.
The Avengers list, in my experience, is basically a short-range gun line that has synergy buffs with the escapability of eyes, right? And so the idea I had for them dropping was there's more effective gun lines in the meta now than there used to be, with Inhumans coming out, CGR is now all over the place. You've also got X-Force and X-Men Blue coming out. I feel like they're actually going to have to work to win the gun battles now, as opposed to winning them automatically. And so that all combined with the fact that one of their semi-core models got nerfed. Bucky, I admit, is very cuttable, but he was affiliated, right? He's actually a member of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He was affiliated, yes.
Right. And so he qualifies for, I think, a couple of their cards. It's a minor difference. It really doesn't matter that much. But it's mostly just that I think the meta is going to change to where there's going to be a lot more aggressive aggro-type ranged lists that they have to actually compete with that were completely non-existent before. Because we're talking about also like Guardians running around. Like I think that's a lot of those are not great matchups for them. So it's less so that the Bucky nerf hit them. It's more like the meta changing, I think, is not good for them because they were winning those fights automatically before. Anyway, what's next?
Spider Foes.
All right. Where are these people? I have them in D, which is just above my joke factions.
I have them in C, which is above my joke factions.
C.
I had them at B.
I was worried earlier when you said, like Spider Foes. I thought you meant also an A category. I was like, oh my god. Aaron's list is just all 24 affiliations and then like 2 empty slots. So Spider Foes, again, they just haven't aged well. Before Kaiju models really existed, I think they were great. I think they were a really, really good affiliation that was fun to play. They just don't stand up to big models very well, and so that puts them in a weird spot. They also don't like playing against maximum scoring fast lists because they struggle to, prevent the outscoring. And so they can definitely win the attrition war versus those people, but a lot of the time it's too little too late. And so you need a little bit of help in the mission game to really play against those affiliations. But then because you're playing the low scoring missions, you're losing to the Kaijus. And so you're just in a weird, tough spot that a lot of the Brawly lists are.
I'll change mine down to C from B.
Because you were wrong?
Yes.
Nice. Wait, I gotta sound clip that. Hold on. That was really good.
Yeah. The others I haven't beat here, I would expect to win more than they would. I
Yeah.
I think I put them there just because I like the faction.
Yeah,
But
same.
in terms of actual competitive, yeah. Like I look across from me and see spider foes, I am not worried.
Yeah, you're like, oh, thank God, I got a good matchup.
Yeah,
like, and you don't even know ignoring what you're playing. You're like, I got a good matchup. Like,
Right, dice can happen, right? I'm not saying I
Yeah.
auto win spider foes, but
even Dark Dimension is like, oh, I got spider foes. You're like, oh, thank God. Like, I might not get blown off the table.
oh yeah, no, like the Asgard Dark Dimension shit. Like,
Mhm.
sure, they can just go off on me, and there's nothing I can do about it. Spider foes is a grindy game if they want to win normally.
Yeah.
Unless you play them like I do, with some Rhino in a China shop.
Yeah, that's it. That's the answer.
It fucking is.
All right, well, what's next?
The next affiliation is Uncanny X-Men.
I think you mean X-Men. I have X-Men, and oh my God, if you guys weren't yelling already, rated as a Bravo. I'm gonna get literal death threats.
I struggle with this one. I decided to give them A, but it's a big asterisk. Like I need more data, but it's A right now.
But A plus or A minus?
A asterisk, which is to say, I don't know if they deserve it at all, but they have so.
That's what. But are you saying that you rated them on the plus side or the bottom side? Is what I'm asking.
Definitely the bottom side. I
okay, so
you
think they're A plus, then asterisk for an S.
Yeah, it's the opposite. I think they're A minus asterisk for a B, because
right.
because I'm not sure if I'm not sure where the all the buffs and all the nerfs actually set them yet.
Got it.
Okay.
I gave them B.
Ooh, Jeremy gave them the only A.
The only straight A. Yeah,
it's the only
straight
A. I'm kind of in the same spot with Parker on this one. The nerf to gold is a very relevant nerf. Like it is not dumpstering them, but it is very relevant. It changed the way they have to approach their playstyle because they had so many automatic plays before, which are no longer automatic and now are like heavy commit plays. And I really do respect X-Men Blue. But they are, like, if my opponent's just going to line up and try and kill me, I feel better about that than what I generally consider A-list to do. And, like, the huge amount of power they generate is definitely worth mentioning. But I consider that kind of a fair list. And so because of that, I didn't put them in A.
I concur with you on all points. I actually think I think the X-Men changes were made with what's coming down the pipe in the first quarter of next year in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I think AMG has what X-Men wants in their mind with those models included.
Mm-hmm.
So X-Men right now is B. I could see them being A or S after all the new models that are to be released come into faction. So We'll see how that goes.
Jeremy, sell me on an A.
They were already really good. They tweaked the leadership a little bit, which isn't nothing. But they did mess with that, which, took some juice out of it. But they did adjust some models, which were all a part of the scheme, and made some models much better. Their tactics cards are great. Their models are generally pretty great. They have a ton of control models. They have a ton of damage models. They can kind of build whatever list they want to. I think they can play a lot of different ways with their two different leaders. Their leaders aren't expensive. I think they got game in about anything. I think if anything, they got better.
I don't think they got better, but I think you have a good opinion. I think that is the vast assumption is that X-Men overall are in a stronger place than they have been. After talking with Perrin a decent amount, playing a game against him, and then doing a deep dive into his list, and then talking with other people as well, I think Storm's leadership is half of what it was before. Because the defensive mechanic got cut by 70% almost. Like, cover versus a reroll is totally different game, playing field.
For sure.
And the place costing power is extremely relevant, which to the point where it completely changes the way they approach building their list. And so that's really the big part of it. Like, obviously, the later turn places are still good, but with so many extracts on the ground now, the hop was mainly just for first turn plays, and they took a lot of that power away. Like to where like the only way to do a lot of their older plays is play Angela now, which is a model you don't really want in your list if you can avoid it. So because that's dropped so much, the buffs to the characters are definitely relevant, but honestly, the way I look at it, it's really just Cable and Cyclops. Like the rest of the models were minor buffs, if anything, or they're only buffed to within the realm of the rest of the models they already had access to. Like Jean is just 5-point Emma, in my opinion. Like she's obviously better than that, but it's long and short of it. Colossus is whatever. Like I actually think he's worse now than he used to be, but I understand that people don't agree. Wolverine's whatever. Like if you're playing him over Logan, I just don't understand. Like it's not a real choice. And so with all of that in mind, I just don't, they don't get to an A for me. They are the highest ranked B faction I have. But
you obviously, I mean, as you usually do, you have opinions about things that are, strong and sideways for the most part,
100%.
but that's fine. I would say everything that you're saying, I disagree with the other direction, but that's okay. So that's why I put it in A.
I really did want you to convince me. So
yeah, that's fine.
And that's why you're such an awesome person, Jeremy. You can admit that Brandon's wrong and still not hate him for it.
Oh, I've always hated him. That's my superpower.
Don't you take his hate away from me.
Don't you
I'm
take my
fueled
hate
by
away.
it. Nourished.
Nourished.
Oh, man. All right, what's next?
Next is Wakanada. Or Wakanda.
I'm so glad you pronounced it correctly. Yeah. I get on Aaron all the time for saying it wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Alpha.
Also A.
An easy A.
Quad A, baby.
So obviously we're in agreement here, but let's talk about the real how to make the sausage parts of this. Once they nerf Spirit of Wakanda, where are they going to be? Because that's clearly a faction being dragged over the mountaintop by a broken fucking card. That's like when Criminal Syndicate got to play with Hired Muscle, and you're like, why don't they lose any games? You're like, yeah, we figured out the problem, guys.
I don't know. It's probably B+.
You think they're still B+ without Spirit of Wakanda in their list?
I think they have a strong control game plan. And I think, especially with the inclusion of Jabari Chieftain and M'Baku's leadership into the faction, they have the ability. They kind of always had the ability with Wakanda Forever and Usurp the Throne to just kind of go nuts on one turn. And again, I think that is so key for competitive MCP. They have it, right? So you combine a control game plan with an I kill you turn. Right? What else do you need to be competitive? Nothing.
They were strong for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
So you think they'd be below Defenders?
Defenders are too new right now to really place them anywhere but A.
Below Criminals, above Asgard?
Absolutely above Asgard, yes.
Okay. Above Inhumans?
I'm going to say no, because I have belief.
Ooh. But they'd be above all the basic bitch factions like Brotherhood and A-Force?
Yes. I wouldn't call them bitch factions, but sure.
No, basic bitch.
Okay.
It's a term. I understand you don't know it, but we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
All right. Parker, what's next?
The next faction is Weapon X.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
D. Fucking D-.
I put them in C, and I have a reason why. I'll tell you why later.
I feel like they're chaos in motion. C, D, A, C, D, A. I don't know. How about D today? Whatever. It's fucking chaos.
Okay. I like the D.
I gave them a C.
Okay. Can I tell you why I think they're only deserving of a D and nothing higher?
No. Parker?
But I want to.
Parker, don't fucking ask me then.
I'm going to cut it in later, even if you say no. Okay. So the reason that I think Weapon X would absolutely floor me if I saw it win a tournament is not because I think Weapon X can't win. It would be because I'd be so stunned that a player decided to play Weapon X over a good affiliation with the exact same models in the list. Because I think Weapon X is the worst iteration of that collection of models when you could play, especially now with X-Force being more viable, X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, fucking Brotherhood, play it fucking anywhere. You just take those models, you put it in a list, it's good. Like, Weapon X does not give you any choices or ability to affect the game other than just putting models on the board. And so, if in that example, you should literally play fucking Hellfire Club and it's better. And so, it would surprise me that someone chose Weapon X with those models and then also won. Because generally, good players will know this and take one of those other factions. And that's why. It's not because those models with those rules cannot win. Like, even if you played them in Weapon X, it's just, I don't understand why you'd intentionally handicap yourself by playing that of the 5 affiliations that list is legal in.
Maybe you wanted to pick up a Dozier.
A Dozier?
If you needed a Dozier, then you have to play
No,
Weapon X.
because again, smart players know that Doziers are bad.
Okay, I can buy your logic. I still retain my C rating.
I said I was going to
So
explain
I'll
why
get
my
on
C.
member berries.
Hit me, Parker.
I was going to say the only reason why I say they're C is because they are one of those factions that kind of lives and dies on the dice. Like, if your opponent fails to kill you by 1, you've talked about this before. If your opponent fails to kill you by 1, it's not just that you got an extra turn. You got an extra turn and then probably won the game, right? Because it multiplies so much. If you get 2 wilds on your roll or whatever, then all of a sudden you pierce and did an extra damage, and then they fall down. They live and die on that 1 dice turn. And that 1 dice turn, if it happens enough times in a tournament, that could get them further away. I think it'd be so hard for that 1 dice turn to happen all the way to a final round. That's why I put them in C. But I do think they have a clear strategy, which is put your models out there, make it as many attacks as possible, and get those 1 dice turns. Get them.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a simple strategy. It's not great, but I don't think it's an April Fool's joke, because if they do get those 1 dice like over and over and over again, it happens. They will win. So that's why.
I won the con in Independence this summer with Weapon X.
Yeah, like, I don't think they're functionally bad. I think it's just a poor choice, right?
Ouch.
Like, why wouldn't you just, like, put them, even just play X-Force and just play Leaderless? Like, I think it's actually better. Like,
Leaderless X-Force?
Leaderless X-Force, dude, Call the Pack is a good fucking card.
Call the Pack is a Weapon X
That's
card.
Weapon X.
Is that a Weapon X card?
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of a different card then. What's the X-Force one?
Cat and Mouse?
Cat and Mouse.
Cat and Mouse, I thought was...
You do not like Cat
just...
and Mouse.
Yeah, I don't think I like Cat and Mouse. I can't remember what it was.
Pretty
Anyway.
Sneaky Sis, the stealth one?
Maybe it's that one. I don't know. I don't like Weapon X. I think the tools they give you for the models you're already playing, being like upper A tier, it's like, just play one of the good factions that has actual tools that will allow you to win the game, and not just attempt to Yahtzee people, basically, like Parker's saying. It's like, that's like the worst thing about Black Cat, right? It's like, you're forced to attack her in a lot of situations, and when you just get unlucky, it compounds your bad luck into a loss, because it just gives her all the tools she needs to fuck you.
It says that on her card, though.
Yeah, it does.
It's called bad.
Right, but even that, like, there's a mechanic causing you to get fucked, as opposed to you just leaving Logan on 1, and you're like, fuck my life. Anyway. What's next?
The next affiliation is Web Warriors.
S for spectacular. Good.
S for sensational.
S for stupid.
Aaron, you gotta finish it. S for Spider-Man.
S for suck at everyone who doesn't have a web.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
Yep.
Yeah, this faction needs to be nerfed. Probably just, but it's not really like the faction, right? It's the Steelers. The Steelers need to be nerfed again. Like, it's not enough. You should not be able to play 3 fucking Steelers on F missions. It's just not okay.
3 Steelers in a faction with a good leadership and a 3-point... Wait a second. Okay.
It's 3-point leader. Dude, there's so many games where I'm just like, fuck Miles, he's so worthless. Like,
You're so fucking wrong, but okay.
I'm not.
He is splashable. That's how good he is.
He is a solid model, but the problem is that when you include him in webs, he's the worst model on your team.
Sure,
That's the problem.
okay.
That alone
yeah.
might make it S tier. Your worst model is splashable.
My
Wow.
worst model is
Wow.
Miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, yeah, it's like, you look at Spider-Woman, she's just like everything you've ever wanted in a model. You're just like, fuck me. Like, it's just, yeah, it's too good. You can't. They just need to extract Steelers. it does not work in its current in iteration. But you also can't have, fucking single extracts either. And so, like, I don't know the answer, but I know that it's a bad spot right now. Like, all of the people that can steal extracts that don't use tactics cards are not really fair.
Yeah. So let's just go through real quick the different things that makes the faction S, because you just came over their chest without saying why.
Extract stealers.
Sure. One reason you're focused too much on the upper lips. Do they have scenario control? How about out the fucking yang, right?
I actually think that's a bit of a misconception. They're actually not that good at moving people because that's just where they started. They've gotten almost no new models to do that.
They don't need new models. Like,
no,
the ability
Gwen,
to move
Gwen
a model
is
on
S-tier,
demand.
Right. Gwen is S tier on moving people.
Uh-huh.
Peter Parker 1 is S tier on moving people. Okay, that's the list.
Sure, but you don't need 5 models to do it. You just need one.
The big thing is that they have a 3-pointer that's fucking amazing at it. And so It's just like Shuri. It's like people just assume, like, but Wakanda, everyone can fucking move people. It's not just Shuri. And so there's a lot of size restrictions to a lot of other stuff. Sure. No, 100%, Webline is insane. It's like all of their original models specifically focused on moving people, and that hasn't been a thing with a lot of their newer models. That's all I'm saying, is that people just assume every web warrior can move somebody, and that's not true. Fair enough. I guess my point is the standard package or a list will have secure control. It will have one of the best pay-to-flippers in the game with Amazing Spider-Man. It will have great extract control because of everything you talked about. And on top of that, if you finally get them in a corner, they play all webbed up and just fucking murder you. Like, they tick every single box. Oh, and most of the faction long moves. And has wall crawler. And stealth. Yeah. Stealth is actually super big. And people underestimate stealth all the time. Yeah. The only thing they don't have going for them is tankiness. And they supplement that with a leadership that gives them more tankiness. So, yeah. It's like, let's find a weakness and patch it up is what they decided to do with this faction. I will say, after playing them, you really have to lean into the fighting style. Like, people talk about how, you just play all over to kill them. That doesn't really work. Like, if you're playing the all-in on scenario plan, you have to play a different set of models to actually succeed at it. But it is a tool that they have in their bag. They can easily play those models. The ASM buff is very relevant. I think it's probably one of the... I don't know how we would rate it on the scale, but it single-handedly changed the matchup of X-Men. Like, ASM's upgrade made a huge difference in playing X-Men. Cool. So, yeah. And they just won York, if anyone's wondering. Yep, they're still good. Yeah, not surprising at all. Yeah, I think if Avengers or Webs don't win a tournament, I'm more asking why. I'm like, what, no one play Webs? Like... It's silly. I don't think the faction's at all fair.
You know what's funny is that happens. That's how it happens. That's how Webs doesn't win, is because not everyone enjoys playing them, and so you can go to a tournament and not see any Webs.
Yeah.
You didn't even mention their tactics cards either. Yeah. They actually have tactics cards that also specific to them that fucking save their ass on different occasions.
I think Spider Tracker is the most well balanced card in the game.
Dude, I will smack your mouth when I see it.
I actually do. There's a lot of ways to play around it, but because everyone just assumes it always works, it is hard. But it's actually pretty easy to play around.
Yeah, the fact that it says away, wait, it doesn't.
It doesn't. No. So the thing is, it has to be a move action, and so many people nowadays have some form of mobility that doesn't affect a move action. You know what it really does? It just says move away from charging models, is what it says on the card. Because it's effectively all it's good for. And so you just got to put them in spots to play it early and just fish it out. It's just like, fallback or brace or anything like that. If you don't do things because you assume they're going to play it, it's just like brace. It's like, well, if brace just says your list is immune to collisions, that's even better than brace. So you just got to fight your way through it. But it is a really important card to their game plan. All right. What is next?
The next faction is the Winter Guard.
F.
Mine is D, but yeah, it's a joke.
F for Winter Guard.
Winter Guard. For reasons we've already discussed on this cast.
Yep. This is my highest rated F faction of Sentinels, Black Orders, and Dark Dimension, being the next three. So Winter Guard is a weird, like, they're kind of like the New Age spider foes, I would say. Is everything in my brain tells me this is the worst faction in the entire game. And then I play against it, I'm like, why is this good? Like, why is my opponent in this game? And they always just hang on longer than you expect. They do more damage than you expect. They survive longer than you expect. Like, I don't think they totally missed, but they missed, right? Like, it's just a little bit worse than it probably should be.
No, it's a good deal worse.
I don't know.
We're done talking.
I have it on good authority that several people have played this affiliation at the Geekery and won games.
What's next, Parker?
The next one is X-Force. It's also the last one.
Last one, X-Force. D, which is just above joke for me.
I also placed it in D.
I will let this one rise up into a C.
I misspoke. I had C. I'm sorry. I had C as well. Thank you, Jeremy, for letting me interrupt you.
Above joke, yeah.
I had B.
Okay. I do want to see some X-Force on the table. I haven't seen it yet. I do know that they're froggy. I'm kind of excited. I just think that like stuff like Brotherhood and A-Force and Asgard are above A-Force for me right now until I'm proven wrong, basically. And so because of that, I pushed it down to a D for me. But that's why I want to separate C's from D's, which is why I have an extra category. I think they're my highest rated D.
I think they have a lot of potential right now. I think that they could come out the box, or they might not.
I actually feel like what's kind of funny about them is I actually don't think they were ever as bad as people thought they were. It's just that Shadowlands Daredevil existed, and so because he existed, everyone just kind of wrote them off, which I don't think they played the same game plan. I don't think they had the same footprint. They just had similar leaderships, and that's the only thing people saw. I don't think the buffs to the models in X-Force actually changed their list that much. I do think it makes it better at what they do, but I don't think it gave them a revolutionary way to play like some of the other affiliations we talked about with the change. I just think that because they got buffed at all, people are like, ooh, they got buffed at all. Maybe they are just, different than these other factions that let you reroll dice. And I think they were always different than those factions that let you reroll dice. People just didn't play them.
No, I think that's probably fair. People just looked at them and assumed they were bad. Mm-hmm. The other problem we get to is kind of my Weapon X argument is like, why wouldn't you just play Storm and get a much, much, much better leadership and stable attack discards?
I'm not gonna lie. The fact that they fixed Cyclops at the same time as X-Force makes me wonder if we'll ever see X-Force, because, like just what you said, the models that they take are also in the Cyclops list, and I think it might just be better.
I think there's a bit of a there is the Venn diagram is no longer a circle in a circle. It's now like there's a little like crescent, and so I think there's a chance, and I think there's a decent amount of people that want to try it. So we'll definitely see it in the coming months.
I think there's a legitimate reason to run Storm and Cable and not Cyclops, and Cable is your option when you don't want to run Storm's leadership, because there are scenarios where I don't think you're going to get much use out of the reroll.
You're playing
so
like
at which
intrusions.
Point, yeah, exactly. So let's go offensive. Let's run Cable. Jury's still out, but I think Cable is totally worth being a 5 threat. So you don't have an anchor, and the rest of the affiliation was always really good.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have I still think subpar leadership with a decent leader and a great affiliated models. Like, to me, I put it B. Like, I don't think it's going to win, but if people put in enough reps, I would want to know who they are and what they were doing with it, but I wouldn't be like, blown out of the water.
There's one thing I will say about X-Force, is that they don't, unlike a lot of the like traditional attrition lists, they don't need to run downhill with Ds. And E's. Sorry, with E, not with D's, with E. They don't need to sit in the middle and fight. They can spread out just fine and enjoy that fight too. It's kind of a interesting thing. I always thought was interesting about them is they don't have to pile up. They can absolutely spread and go 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 and feel good about that.
Yeah, I think this is basically the home of the Weapon X list, and obviously it's not the exact same models, but it's a lot of overlap that easily gets you affiliated. Psylocke is getting very spicy as a core meta model.
What do you mean by that?
there's a lot of lists that can take her that suddenly want to.
Sure.
Psylocke? You don't think so?
No, I'm a little, well, I go up and down on Psylocke depending on my hour. So she was nerfed because she really needed the cover to help get into position with Storm. And I think because of that, people thought she was better than she was just as a stat card. Because if you can attack her from outside range 2, she just kind of melts. So she's a great model if you can deliver her. So I got to figure out how to do that with cover off the table. That's my 2 cents.
I mean, she's always going to have that hole that, like, you know, most martial artists with stealth have. So I don't know that you can completely fix it. I mean, you could just play her in Brotherhood and give her cover again, right?
Sure. I mean, I still think she's worth taking. You just have to kind of change up how you play her. And I haven't played her a ton. I just, you know, I played against her with Perrin playing her. And, yeah, she gets close to me. Obviously, the Mystic Attack is great, specifically in his list. She brings a lot of utility. But because of that, I know I have to kill her. And now I know how to, and it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but my whole point was, with the advent of how many people are dragging Mystic Attacks into their list, and the new brawly like meta that we're kind of developing now, I just think that a martial artist model with infinite rerolls is good. So,
Yeah.
And she's not like weak to Mystic either, which is great. So yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Psylocke on the table due to the affiliations that are getting more popular and the meta. Anyway, that wraps up our list. Aaron, if you want to compile these in some way and send it to me, I'll add it to our show and I'll post it somewhere.
Already did.
Cool. All right. Anybody else have anything else before we get out of here? All right.
I would say one thing. I'll say only one small thing, which is every time we make a joke about a list being dog shit, the bottom of this game is still playable, and we said it a couple times in a couple different ways. But one of the problems with tier lists that I don't like about tier lists in any sort of content creators version is that people have a tendency to go, well, then only play S and never play F, because F must be a waste of your time, and I don't think that's this game at all. I think we've tried to say that a couple times in different ways, but I just want to make it plain that you don't have to take. Not only do you not have to take our word for it, but our word is still all the factions are playable, all the affiliations are playable. Go play them. None of them don't work.
I would even say if you think an affiliation, you listener think an affiliation is bad, I will challenge you to play Aaron playing the bad affiliation against you and see how that goes. Because while he's playing these trash affiliations, I've had to run against all those garbage affiliations and take some pretty embarrassing losses along the way. Now, I've never been beaten by anyone on the table with Ursa Major yet, and I refuse to. So don't even try.
I refuse to.
I refuse to. So fuck that.
Challenge fucking accepted.
I know. The gauntlet has been thrown. Every game you're going to put it in the fucking list. Stop it.
Everyone better be putting it in their list against Jeremy.
Hey, as long as it's not Thanos, I'm fine. We're good.
Okay. I'll echo what Parker said. Yeah. Play almost anything. Play what you want, first and foremost. Like, looking at this list, I really only think 5 of them I would be really, really shocked. Like, you're not going to win. That's still 19 affiliations to choose from if you want to win. Pick one. Get good with it. That's really what matters, is just get your reps in, because they can all do something kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think everything is, like, we talk about competitive, and the reason we make the decisions we make, we play the stuff we play, or we argue for these things, is it's not that the list can't win. We're talking about it against the other lists as a whole, and so we're really talking about, like, number of subpar matchups, and, like, number of good matchups, and, like, stuff like that. It's not saying that you can't win every single thing in the game if played with a, like, proper strategy is competitive in a single game. Like, everything is. And so it's more about, like, how can you avoid getting bad matchups in late rounds and stuff like that. But when I say something's trash, it is trash. I want to make that very clear. All right.
They all know that.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Jeremy.
And playing Ursa.
You're trash.
And you just listened to The Gang Chooses Their Favorites.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
Man, oh man, oh man. I am so excited for this cast.
You are?
Yes, I have been awaiting this all day.
I had a fun conversation with Jake yesterday.
Really?
Is it
Yeah.
about this cast, or is it just like in general? Wouldn't it be awesome if it was just like
It is.
it was
Parker
actually
has
about?
a great enthusiasm, and Brandon's like, yeah, fuck that. Let me tell you about something else completely random in my life.
Well, if I was allowed to finish.
Have you ever fed your
I
cat
was,
raisins?
I was about to say it's tangentially related to this cast, but more just the cast as a whole.
Okay.
Well, go ahead, Brandon. I want to hear
He
Brandon.
had
Go
the
ahead.
opinion that as a group, we have a major deficiency in Parker's bets. Jake thinks that Parker makes the worst bets that any person could ever make.
You sure?
Now, I don't know that I would agree directly with that statement, but I would agree that he's coming from a place of education. And so, given the record we've seen, it's not been a great record.
No.
He's on a downslope. We know this. He's
I
going to come
take
back up.
I take umbrage with his opinion that that's a downside to the cast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a feature.
If you need,
Feature.
I was gonna say, if you need me to win,
glitch.
this is not the thing to listen to. I'm not winning. There's no version of this podcast where I come out on top. I don't think. I think that's the moral of the story. I think you just.
If you're
you
betting
live
right
and you
along with
die.
Parker,
Yeah.
that might be an issue.
Yeah.
You are several people's favorite cast member, though, Parker.
Yes. Everybody.
Entire severals.
Yeah. Everybody
I refuse
loves
to give them
a
credit
dark horse.
by naming them, but
No,
Mhm.
you shouldn't.
no.
But everybody loves a dark horse, and I am the darkest horse when it comes to betting, for sure.
Okay, I'm just going to leave that alone.
Okay, Parker, back to you. Why were
Okay.
you so excited for this cast?
Oh, I just felt like the topics we have are just. I am so pumped. I was excited to do it last week, but now that I actually got to sit down and fiddle with the topic, I'm really excited to find out what you guys think. I'm really pumped to. I prepared myself mentally for not
Fighting?
arguing everything. I was like, don't argue everything. Brandon and you will agree on something, so try not to argue when you agree, and just try really hard not to do that. That's one of my things I really wanted to do. And the second thing is, I am really excited about the movie category, because we've kind of tangentially kind of skimmed this one a bunch, but there are
I
a
knew
bunch
you were
of
going to like it. I knew
Yeah,
you
they're-
were going to like it.
there are a bunch of them that you can't really put in a category, right? They're just kind of they were made for entertainment purely, and so I'm excited for this. I had a really hard time choosing 3. This is by far the hardest category ever for me. Not even close. The others were so much easier.
My
this is gonna
favorite's
be hard.
going to be when you're naming the most random shit nobody's ever heard of.
Oh,
The
It is.
Butterfly Dancer 3 and Chronicles 7 Japanese
Yeah.
version. Do
Yeah.
not listen to the dubbed. It is garbage. You're like, what?
I haven't. I don't know if
Did I
I've
nail it
gotten
in one?
down that. But I'm not gonna lie. When I was listing off all the ones I could think of that I loved dearly off the top of my head, I realized that most of them are ones that people have heard of them, but they're a little
Just
bit out there.
confirming
when I
again.
to put it this way, when I got married to Sarah, and after we had children, I just kind of brought all of my DVDs, all my Blu-rays, for my apartment over here. And so when we had kids, Sarah was like, maybe we should, think about investing in like some animated movies, some family movies and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, well, you know what? I think I may have gotten some. And so I went downstairs and I had an embarrassing amount of like PG and G rated animated movies already because I just love them so intensely. I had already bought them. And so they've all been committed and now to digital formats, and my kids love them too. It's a lot of fun. I love the genre we picked, so I'm really pumped. Really excited.
Just clarifying the genre, it's specifically animated movies, not just non-live action, right? Like claymation doesn't count, stuff like that.
Well,
the
claymation
animated.
Claymation does count because it is animation.
Yeah, that's animated.
Because if you said traditional animation, then you could not also allow computer animation, right? Or anything computer assisted.
All right, so we're going with any non-live action, basically.
Yes. An animated movie is anything in which you take a still model, take a picture of it, and then, take another, move it slightly, take a picture of it, move it slightly, take a picture of it, which includes classic cell animation, all the way to computer animation, stop motion animation. All those are animation.
A Michael Bay movie would be not animated. However, it might seem like it's animated.
I was going to say, a Michael Bay movie is nearly animated movie.
Nearly.
It's very closely. Hell, most modern Marvel movies are nearly entirely animated.
But I mean, I think that most of the CGI movies, those things are just crazy cool, and like, they're obviously,
Do you invalidate anything that has any live action components? Like, trying to think of an example. Like, I'm pretty sure in the SpongeBob movie, David Hasselhoff is in the movie.
No, SpongeBob would 100% be animated.
Yeah.
Okay, even though there's like a fourth wall break and there's a
no, that's
shot.
fine.
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
What I would say is, and actually just sitting here talking about it, like the Turtles movie made by, what was that? Were those Michael Bay movies?
Yeah.
The ones that were made with...
those are Michael Bay movies.
Those were not animated movies. Mm-hmm. Like, those had mostly
just
real people,
CGI.
But they're just heavy CGI. Like, that would not be considered animated.
And like the prequel trilogies of Star Wars wouldn't count, even though 95% of it is CGI.
Yeah.
Even I would say even Who Framed Roger Rabbit would not be an animated movie.
Man, that would be a tough one. But if someone wanted to say that, we would have to argue a bit.
It'd be hard.
There goes 1, 2, 3, and 4 on my list. I hate.
Well, the setting,
son of a bitch.
The setting is entirely real, right? But some of the characters are entirely animated. That's difficult.
So anyway, I think that's enough information on that. We'll get there.
Okay.
In other news, I'm not hiring anymore. So if you were going
to I'll drink to that.
Don't. It's closed. We're not hiring anymore. Apparently, my cook who went to Mexico, the one that did not get drunk and fired, his truck blew up. And if you go to Mexico in a truck, by God, you have to return in the same truck. It is a huge problem if you do not. He was giving me the rundown.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, he tried to come back in a different vehicle, and they're like, no, this voids your passport. Like,
essentially, you can't ever return without the vehicle that you went with, or there's a huge problem. Anyway, he had to fix the truck, which took him 2 months because of parts and people helping him. And his dad was sick the whole time. But like, he was explaining to me the process of trying to get back in the States and what he needed to do to get his truck back in the States when he had basically sent a rod through his engine because it overheated on the way that, like, it was insane. And I'm like, dude, okay, well, just don't do that to me again, right? Cool? We cool? So, anyway, I have my cooks again, and I might actually be able to not be angry 24/7.
I mean, that's not at all possible, but sure.
Maybe 2 hours a day. I can, like...
Okay, I'll give you 2 hours a day.
Chill. If I'm drunk. But that robot is still there staring at me every day.
How many Bleach movies I can put on this list?
Oh, God.
I think there's like 6.
Oh, boy. So, Parker, is everyone done getting COVID at your school? Are they through it? Because
Uh,
everyone basically
ahead.
got through it now at my kids'
yeah,
school.
we did have a I would say, not even a serious outbreak, but a fair amount of people who had it, but yeah, it's done, or I haven't heard it since then. I also didn't get a lot of information about it because we never had so many that we had to wonder about attendance or anything like that. Just about, I would say like 3 kids, out of all my classes that were out for it or some COVID related issue. But
Yes.
it hasn't been now for weeks.
Yeah, school started and a handful of people got it, and then my residents got it, and like a handful of my servers got it, and everyone like paused and we were like, oh no. And then it kind of like tightened up and everyone kind of got over it and it went away.
Mhm.
It was like, oh no. I was just wondering if you guys were the same kind of way.
No, and I don't even want to guess like what it means for the virus or anything. Just
Yeah.
no, it's been either the vaccine is working really well and enough people have it, or it's just not communicating as
I
well.
think people are just taking their allergy meds.
Listen, if you have
You only get
allergies,
those allergies.
do you know how many people's lives I saved because I gave it to them and gave them 90 days protection?
Because you gave them allergies.
Yes. Look, I took tests for allergies several times. I'm certain they weren't allergies. All I know is I need this fucking area to freeze up though, because my allergies are legitimately fucking murdering me. Like,
Yeah, I'm with you
over
there. I have not gonna lie, one of the things that keeps me wondering if I can stay in this area is you guys, because the older I get and the more older my kids get, I'm starting to look at that time like, well, man, they're growing so fast. Eventually, they won't need me anymore, and the only reason I'll be here is for my job. Like, when that happens, I don't want to stay around here. It's just because the environment is just choking me.
Oh yeah.
Like I spend so much of the year miserable and like in a wash in a sea of antihistamines. Like, why am I living like
Oh, it's
this?
the worst. We're like in the
Yeah.
worst area of like this country. Like
Yeah, it's
the
a
dump
bad
of
idea.
allergens.
Mhm.
When it comes to weather, we do have an odd mix of the worst fucking weather. And
Skip-
just
Just skip
nature in general.
snow, go to ice.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And other parts of the country that have tons of snow, they're like, we just take that off the roads. You don't really have snow.
Yeah. Like, I get that, like, living in, like, Michigan might really suck because it's, like, -10 for weeks on end. But, like, trust me, it's just as fucking bad for it to be 20 degrees and snowy, followed by 65 the next day, and then 10 degrees the next day, because all the snow just fucking melts into a sheet of fucking ice. Just, like, everything is covered in ice for, like, a week.
I have been not so subtly hinting to my wife that I really want to live in southern Alaska. I loved southern Alaska, and I specifically asked some of the locals, like, what are the winters like here? Because that's Sarah's big, she can't handle it. And I was like, what happens whenever there is, big snows? And they said nothing really. Like, yes, it does snow like feet, but they're used to it, so they just clear off the roads. They have a lot of really powerful equipment that keeps on top of it. Like you guys said, it's cold the entire time, so it doesn't really get icy if they just push it off. And they
it's
just have
snow.
they're just really good at, they've just gotten really, really efficient and good at pushing it off. And I was asking some of the high school students, I was like, do you guys like cancel school? And they're like, no. Like, one day 3 years ago, the roof caved in. Like, there was so much snow, it caved in the roof in like one hallway. And so, yeah, they closed that day. It's like that day. It's like, yeah,
Oh yeah.
they got the snow out of the hallway and they fixed the roof and we had school the next day. I was like, that's the kind of inconvenience they have there because they're used to it.
Oh yeah. A polar bear got loose in the school and killed 7 kids. So like, yeah, we closed school that day.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
what?
that day. Yeah, the bear stuff, like that kind of stuff. It's strange how much it doesn't bother them, and I loved how much it doesn't bother them. It was one of my favorite parts of being there. Just like they're freaking, even like their pest animals, their ravens they have there are the size of goddamn tigers. They are enormous. And they're like
Condors.
full grown. They're like full grown wild turkey size. Like you've ever been close to like a wild turkey? They are that big, and they're like hanging out like we have pigeons, like next to trash cans and stuff. And they have zero fear of people. And when you walk up to these things, they are enormous and they're very intelligent. They'll take shit like right out of your bag, like. And they're tall enough to reach into your bag and like just grab. They don't have to fly. They're just like, bloop, and they just pull it out because it's at their eye height. They are just incredibly like. That's the kind of thing. Bald eagles, fucking bald eagles everywhere. I don't know if I told you about this. It blew my mind. The radio towers there.
I do like me some eagles.
Every single time we passed this radio tower, it was just one of the radio towers on the side of the road for local radio station. On the radio tower, not shitting you, at all times, at least 8 bald eagles.
That's
just like hanging. Yeah, just like hanging out on this radio tower.
Quick side note: I saw the largest flock of birds I've ever seen before yesterday. I was driving from Olathe to Shawnee, and it was like 3 solid miles. This set of power lines alongside the highway was completely covered in birds. Every single power line was completely packed, and then there was the enormous flock of birds circling, looking for somewhere to land. It was crazy.
It's like the LaGuardia airport of birds.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Birds are doing pretty good.
I mean, they're all robots.
Every once in a while, I'll be talking and I'll at work or whatever with some of these young kids, and we'll be talking about something stupid, and I'll be like, and then like flat earthers and birds aren't real or whatever. And they'll be like, "You heard about the
They're
birds
not
aren't real?" And I'm like, "Just keep walking." I'm like, "Don't even start." Like, I can't even tell if you're being serious or not. I don't want to know if you think that.
All right. Aaron, are you going to get upset if I don't follow your template for how to rate these things?
Yes.
I just have a totally different
He's
setup.
already upset.
I don't want to change it.
I love it.
I've grouped them into sets of 2s going all the way down.
What?
All the affiliations, I grouped them in sets of 2s, and they're just grouped all the way down in pairs of powerness.
Are you serious?
The power pairs.
You made 14 different tiers?
Yeah. Is that not the most efficient way? I thought that's what you guys did.
Oh, Lord.
I fucking hate when I split screen Discord. It shrinks all the names. I don't understand why. Like, every name is abbreviated after the first letter, so I can't tell who anybody is.
Oh my gosh. Somebody just sent me the most amazing meme. It's some animator for his final project. He decided that he wanted to make an incredibly hyper-realistic, like, gun kata animation, but it's entirely dinosaurs wielding the swords. It looks so ridiculous. One of them is, Brandon, one of them is your favorite, the guy who uses 3 swords and one of them's in his mouth from One Piece. What is his name? Zoro. It's just a velociraptor, but it's just a velociraptor with 3 swords and Zoro's bandana on. And it looks amazing. But it's just one of those things that, somebody was like, man, I want to do this, this homage to this, animation style, but I also want to draw dinosaurs. And so they just decided to do them both at the same time. It's pretty fantastic.
So, explain to me as easy as you can, what is One Piece?
Oh, it is a terrible anime designed for children in which basically the entire population of the planet decides to become pirates.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah, it's 100% of the show, yeah.
Okay.
The world's kind of interesting, but it is definitely written for kids, and so there's that barrier of it's like the first season of Clone Wars, the animated show for Star Wars, and the first season is written for children, and it's terrible. And then everything past that is written for young adults, and so it gets much better. Because it's not just moral lessons every episode, and you're not getting preached to you're 5 years old. And so once they actually write a show, it gets better. But One Piece, that takes about 800 episodes for them to stop doing that.
Well, I first heard about it in the card game that came out, and then they puked it up on Netflix and keep shoving it in my face.
Yeah, don't
And I'm
don't
like,
do that.
what is that?
Yeah, it's a super standard anime for kids. The world's kind of cool, like I said. So there's like this archipelago planet that they live on, and so there's just tiny islands fucking everywhere. And so the entire civilization of the planet is, naval in base because they have to trade with every other island to have resources. And in the past, there was this famous pirate who was king of the pirates, and his name is Gold D. Rogers, and he dies before the show starts. And so he basically had collected like half of the world's wealth effectively as treasure over the decades that he was king of the pirates. And when they go to execute him, he tells everybody that he left all of the treasure that he had accumulated in one place, and it's up to you to go find it now. And so there's this giant, enlisting of the next generation to become pirates. And so the pirate population like triples over the course of 10 years. And then they're all fighting to become king of the pirates and find what they call the One Piece is the big treasure. So basically infinite fortune and wealth is the One Piece. And then the main character is a teenager that decides that he wants to become king of the pirates. He sets sail and he's collecting his crew, and that's the show. It follows him and his crew.
Okay. All right, well, that makes sense at least to some of the weird graphics I've seen for it. I'm like, what is this?
There's one of the cool interesting things about the world is they have these things called devil fruits. And so there's these magical fruits that just grow wild in this world, and they all grow on different islands and stuff. But if you eat one, you gain you become cursed, but you also gain like superpowers. And so the main character ate what is called the gum fruit. So his body turns into this like rubbery substance, and he becomes basically Mr. Fantastic. It's like he can stretch, he can expand his body, and he can like take any amount of punishment. And so that's his superpowers. He's a rubber person. But the part of the curse is that you can't swim, and if you're ever submersed in water, you lose all of your strength and basically pass out. Which on a planet that's like 90% water is, a problem, especially when the main way that you travel is on boat.
Okay.
But anyway, so there's hundreds of people in this world that have all kinds of weird, crazy-ass powers that they run into and they fight. I'm on episode... Actually, I want to check. I want to get this right, because I've earned this number through pain and suffering. Episode 948.
Oh my god.
I'm so close to being done. I want to be done. But I've been watching this show because the show was in like the 700s or 800s when I started, and I've been watching it for 5 years now.
Are they
Just
10-minute episodes or what?
It's like DBZ, so like there's 10 minutes of content in each episode.
Gotcha.
But it's 30 minutes technically. Yeah, that's really the problem. Is there's a lot of filler and there's a lot of like pointless episodes you basically have to skip through, or else it's just super fucking grating. And then like the least favorite thing I have about the show is that this is the exact example. This isn't exaggerated at all. They finish this big conflict and they're going on to the next story arc. So they're sailing to another area, and they come across a random desert island. They decide to stop, and they get off the boat and they wander around the island. And they run into this guy who crash landed there on an airplane 30 years ago. And he's just been alone on this desert island for 30 years. And they sit there and he tells them his entire life story for 3 episodes. And none of it is interesting or important or good. Like, it's all terrible. Yeah. It's just a fucking waste of time. And the whole time, then you get to the end, it's like, oh, you should come with us. You get off the island. He's like, no, I think I'm just going to live here forever now. And I'm like, what? Like, this is so nothing happened. Literally nothing happened. Yeah. No, yeah. So
like, that has to be a callback somewhere.
Yeah, nope. They never talk about it again. It's just they wanted to fill time. And so they do that kind of shit a lot, which is really frustrating. And they harp on shit a lot. They regurgitate information constantly. But the actual, like, the fights are cool, and the main plot, when it actually happens, is kind of interesting. But generally, I watch it when I'm, like, playing a video game, and it's, like, on the other monitor.
Speaking of video games, has anybody played Diablo in a while?
Mm-mm. Nope. I tried it. I tried turning it back on. I played for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is just not fun. And it's probably just because I need to lower my difficulty, but I just didn't want to fuck with because I don't have any nightmare sigils of the levels I need to be doing. I don't know what levels I need to be doing.
Yeah,
so I'd have to go and experiment on what I should be doing and start all over again. And I have to read all the abilities and re-optimize my kicks. They changed a bunch of shit. And so it's just
yeah.
Same old shit when they get into this revolving door of updates constantly. It's just if you're not playing every day, you just stop playing because it's so hard to start playing again. And as a counterpoint, I started playing City Heroes again, walked right back into the game. That game has been dead for 10, 15 years now, and it's I could just start playing right now.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I've been playing so much Starfield. It's so much fun.
I've heard people like Starfield.
You have to enjoy the Bethesda formula because they have mastered their formula, which is everything is vague, tooltips don't matter, just go out and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be just challenging enough to make you think and not just fly through it, but just easy enough to where you don't have to try min-maxing all the time. You can just play. It's fun.
So obviously it's set in space. Are you part of some organization? Or are you just a private citizen that owns a starship?
So it starts out where you get to pick your background, and there's a little couple nods in the narrative about your background. You'd be a bounty hunter or a former bounty hunter or a former a cook or a former and they give you some skills to start with is what your background does. And it also has a few narrative tie-ins. And then it starts with you are a miner on a space colony. It's in the far future. The Earth's magnetic field started to fail, and so it was getting scored. Basically, what happened to Mars is happening to Earth in the far future, and so everybody leaves. It's a big, everyone on Earth works together to leave, and so the entire galaxy has been colonized at this point. And you are on a mining planet, and while you're mining, you encounter an object, and it gives you, a vision of other galaxies and other places, and you don't know why, but as you find it, when you come back up out of the mine and they bring you back to, you encounter this man from an organization, the only explorers that still exist in the universe, because exploration is kind of silly when you can just go anywhere through warp travel. And you can just go places, plant a flag, and it's yours. It doesn't matter because there's so much space, infinite space, basically. And so the concept of exploration's kind of died off. It's almost become a non-issue because the technology is so advanced and everything's so easy. And so the last small group of explorers, their job is trying to find out, basically, what are these artifacts that they keep finding in various parts of our galaxy. And so they induct you into their membership because you've encountered one, and the main story goes from there.
Okay, so you are not a private citizen, you're part of an explorers guild.
If you want to do that. But, of course, it's a Bethesda game, so there are crazy amounts of other things to do. So,
but that's the plot of the game, is that you're part of an explorers guild.
The main
you're not
story.
Part of a military, or that's all I want to know is are you just a person?
Well,
or are you part of some
you
group?
can, if you want to, join the military. You can, if you want to, join the police keeping force. If you want to, join and be a corporate spy. You can, if you want to, be a miner or an outpost builder or an explorer or a smuggler. All of these jobs are things you can do, but there's no tutorial for any of it. You just have to find it or go on the internet and figure out who's already found it. One of the things that Bethesda, a lot of people didn't like about their last big title, Skyrim, is they felt like Skyrim was a little bit too on the rails. Everything was kind of shown to you. It was really obvious after the first main quest. If you want to be a wizard, go to the wizard school. If you want to be a thief, go to the thieves guild. And the people didn't like that. So Bethesda said, okay, so if you want to do any of these things, you're going to have to go find it. There are no maps in the game. They're star maps, like planet maps, but there are no mini maps in the game. When you get to a new city, you actually have to go walking around the entire city to figure out what's around. And
yeah, that makes me hate it.
But as you walk around, but they do a really good job of, when you're walking around, you'll just walk past two people talking, and those two people talking will say, have have you heard what's going on over in the security building? And they go, oh no, what's going on over there? It's like, well, they can't figure out how they're going to get the vault open. And so all of a sudden, like a little tooltip will pop up, and so it will show you where that building is if you want to go figure out what they were talking about. So you don't have to go find the building, like looking at all the buildings. They will give you a marker to give you a cardinal direction, basically, and you can follow that till you're there. So it's not completely hidden, but the chance of you finding all the quests is literally as like how much time do you spend in the city looking, and that will determine how many quests you find. There is no like go kill 6 snow moose. That's not a job. You can't. That's not a quest you'll ever be asked to do.
How many beetle hides can you collect?
Right. There's none of those. All of them are like narrative based. All of them are really like interesting. Most of them have multiple outcomes. One of my favorite parts of the game is some of the trees on the quests are so complicated that the best like rewards from the quest happen in the middle of the quest. If you give the right like answer to a question, then they will give you something, but it's not like locked behind a skill. Like there'll be persuasion's a skill in the game, and you can persuade people into doing things. But sometimes if you persuade people, that's actually not going to give you the gun you want. It just gives you another step to the quest that will send you into a place that might have something that you want. But if you like are looking for a specific outcome from that quest, you might need to tell the person off, or just agree with them and trying to persuade them. Like there's so many different branches to so many different rewards. One of the things about the game, and I actually haven't got there in the game yet, I've been just exploring so much, but one of the things about the game is it really encourages New Game Plus for that reason, basically, because there is just an insane amount of narrative everywhere, and a monstrous amount of narrative everywhere, so that they actually have baked into the game New Game Plus. And it's not I just hit a button on the home screen and do it. It's actually baked into the narrative. A New Game Plus is actually part of the narrative.
What is New Game Plus?
New Game Plus is a common concept in modern RPGs where people get to the end of the main story and they're like, cool, I have all this gear, I have all this stuff, I would like to play the game again with all my stuff. Can I go back into the game again with all the stuff I've been gaining?
Basically just create a time loop.
Yes. And usually New Game Plus offers you to be harder and like more difficult. Starfield doesn't do that. Their New Game Plus is they take all of your inventory away, but you keep your build, like your skills that you accumulated, your experience points functionally. So you get to keep your experience points, but you lose every bit of gear that you've acquired. And so you basically are yourself still. Yourself is the only thing that transfers between the first game and the New Game Plus. And there are 11 New Game Pluses. Each one of them offers a slightly different narrative. But the main point of it is just to continue doing things, to continue trying things. You can go back and do the same quest over again and get, so many different varieties of the solution, quote unquote, to the quest. And that's not even the main quest. There's just an immense amount of game.
How long? Like all games like this, the real question is how long does it take you to become a Jedi? And when you become a Jedi, is there different levels of Jedi?
There is not a Jedi in the game. You can play a melee character, but you use
with a lightsaber?
No, they have like machetes and wakazashis. It's just like regular swords.
You had one opportunity, Parker, and you lost him.
Disappointed.
I was vaguely interested in this game, and after listening to you, I am super out. I don't know why.
I was halfway down.
But the way you're describing the gameplay, I'm just like, I don't want to do it.
I had it halfway downloaded, and I just canceled.
I canceled it.
I will say this. It's a Bethesda game, so if you enjoy playing something that doesn't necessarily have an end and being able to build any RPG like that you could imagine, they really try to make it so that you can build any type of space character archetype that you want. Like right now I'm playing like a Buck Rogers type. He's got like a jetpack and a great spaceship, and he uses a pistol, and he like jumps around and shoots laser beams. And
you made Star-Lord again.
Yeah, he's Star-Lord. Yeah, I basically made Star-Lord.
No, you're not fooling anyone.
I love him.
You're like, and then I've met a small raccoon who I've then
It's so much, and yes, you can have companions. None of them are aliens; they're only humans. But like, it's really and you can make a crew on your ship, and you can manage that if you want, and it gives you bonuses and stuff. It is you can do anything you want within the genre of a sci-fi, spacefaring adventure. But I know that a lot of people could get paralyzed with it. They could feel like, man, if you can do anything and there's not a lot of rails, what do I do? So if you don't like kind of wandering around looking for things and being surprised by things, then you wouldn't enjoy it. If you need more rails, you wouldn't like it. Because they definitely took the feedback to heart. People did not like how the other Bethesda games were more. They led you by the hand, and this one. I mean,
I play Minecraft. I don't need rails, but at the same time, I don't like having to walk around and talk to dozens of NPCs to do stuff. I don't know. Just never really enjoyed those games.
Oh, you don't have to do that. If you liked, there is a system almost as robust as like a Minecraftian system in the game. If you want to just be an outpost builder, you can just be a settler and go to random planets and find the planets that have the resources that you want, and then you'll build this huge outpost with all these different components and resource gather and and have a whole series of planets that are all working together to just give you money and more resources to build more complex stuff. It's basically just the Minecraft loop. If you want to do that, you can do that, and you never have to talk to a single NPC to do that. You can just start doing that. I am level 61, which is the end game level, and I have like maxed out my ship, and I have all this cool gear, and I have played 4 missions for anything, like 4 whole missions out of the thousands available. It's just because I've just been exploring the galaxy.
I'm very proud of you.
Doing stuff. What I'm saying is, if you don't like the idea of talking to people, you don't have to. You can just build a character and have fun.
So are other people in this game, or is this just a person game?
It is.
You just run around by yourself.
It is Skyrim. Yeah, you are the one.
Space Skyrim.
Gotcha.
It's Space Rim.
It's Space
Rim. Space
yeah.
Fallout. Gotcha.
Oh, they should have called it Space Rim, like Outer Rim.
It's actually much. They did not borrow. They did not borrow a lot of stuff from Fallout. It feels a lot more like Skyrim.
Really?
One of the things that blew my mind is how the gunplay feels really good. Like, it's very satisfying, which is the way Skyrim more feels, because gunplay in Fallout is terribly like cardboard and mechanical. The VATS system makes it super fun.
Listen, if I could zoom into your head with a sledgehammer and make you explode, that was amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's the VATS system that makes that so fun, right? It's the VATS that makes that super engaging. But they took out the VATS and instead just made the fighting feeling a lot more fluid and natural and normal and interesting.
Cool.
Aaron, you're confident we want to have 6 tiers, right? No? But everyone else has 6 tiers?
I don't give 2 fucks what everyone else does.
Okay.
Aaron and I are standing in solidarity.
Jeremy, did you also do 6 tiers?
No.
Did you do 7?
Nope.
8?
No.
Why are you trying to troll this so hard? What is it about this that makes you want?
I don't know. I'm planning on conforming, but if not I'm not going to conform and then find out 2 other people didn't. So that's why that's all I want to do is like if it makes it simpler, I'm fine with it. But I think this granularity is an important distinction.
No, I did not do this like you guys did it. I was waiting for an answer earlier, and I never got it.
Did you do like 3?
I didn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't do it.
Okay. All right. I hope everyone at home enjoys the hour-long rundown we have on Starfield.
I think that Starfield people will appreciate it. Their sales will go up an incredible amount.
The only thing I've heard about
this episode is sponsored by Starfield.
It's not. The only thing I've heard people say about Starfield is that everyone loves it or everyone hates it, and I don't think that's true. That's just something somebody said. It's like, I think everyone liked it. And they're like, no, everyone loved it or hated it. I'm like, well, I haven't heard anyone say anything negative about it. They're like, well, then you're not listening. I'm like, I guess not.
I think that most of the time Bethesda has their shit together, man. Their games are pretty fucking good.
Alrighty.
It's like
cool.
Red Dead Redemption 2 was pretty good.
Was
excuse
that
me?
Bethesda?
No, it's just talking about a game that's like fucking
Yeah.
A plus 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 in like in every
Mhm.
category, and people are like, you know,
No,
it
right,
could
like-
be better.
I get so annoyed when people do shit like that, and there's like, it's like they just want to complain.
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
like just go on the internet and complain. Just shut the fuck up.
I
Like,
know.
like nobody
Why are
cares
you
that
bringing
you
that shit
don't
to
like
me?
this random game. Yeah. All right. Let's get going. Aaron, did you hear about the Italian chef that died?
I did. It was so tragic.
He passed away.
Cool.
Passed away.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, did he? I wasn't sure. You didn't respond. So
Yep. Cool. Who goes first? Let's do this.
we can only do so much. His legacy will become a pizza history.
Oh my god.
Never-ending pasta string.
Oh, I
Brandon's
like that
probably
a
waiting
lot.
on that for a while.
That was a really
I've-
slow burn, and I liked it.
This is I've just now gotten to Brandon's dad jokes. And let me tell you, he sent me a truckload.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, it's already late. Let's get out of here. Oh, I forgot to put a cut time. What time is it? 3.05. We'll call it. All right. So movie category this week is non-live action, or also known as animated movies. I was under the impression animated movies do not include stop motion. Apparently, it does, according to Parker, which just means he's wrong. All right.
Do you have a laundry
So,
list of stop motion
Jerem-
movies you are trying to wedge into this? Is that the issue, or are you just being a
No,
douche?
I was not going to include stop motion movies, and now if you guys are, I need to, so I had to look up more
Oh my
movies.
god. So do you think one day we're going to do, best stop motion animated movies?
No,
There's like
I just-
7.
I just think it's important because if we did
King
this, and they're like
Kong,
the second to last pick,
Godzilla.
somebody goes, "We're doing
Fucking
blah blah
Jason
blah."
the
I'm like,
Argonauts.
well, yeah, like it's just important to know what the category is, so we're picking from the same pool.
Okay.
All right, so Jeremy goes last because he won. He also is not allowed to pick Ninja Scroll. We've covered that.
That's not on my list. I got it.
It's not on my list.
I got it.
So who's going first?
I'll go first.
Aaron goes first.
Yes. We're gonna take Shrek.
You fucking bastard.
Yeah, baby. It is just a good movie. Plus, my son just starred in the live action performance, so has a special place in my heart.
All right. Parker, why don't you go ahead and go next?
I'm going to go with another DreamWorks animated movie. I love me some Kung Fu Panda.
I did not expect you to pick that next. I thought you were going to choose
Shrek 2, then Shrek
a
3.
very specific one. I know. I'm picking Shrek too.
There you go.
All right. So let's see.
I love Jack Black. Jack Black is like one of my favorite things in the world, and I love the sensibility of Kung Fu Panda.
All right. So I'm pretty sure I've already chosen Megamind.
You have
You
before.
have. I actually watched it because of your selection.
Did you like it?
It was okay.
I fucking hate you.
He rates it a C.
He rates it solid C minus.
C plus. I was gonna give it a C plus.
All right. So do I just intentionally pick things I know Parker's going to pick to piss him off?
Oh, I
So
don't
I
think
can
you
take-
can cover my spread. There's no way.
No. I'll just pick your favorites.
Oh, can you guess what my favorites are? Wow, that'd be interesting.
All right. We're going to go with Team America World Police. You got a problem with that, Parker?
Yeah, it's not animated.
Okay, but claymation is?
Yes,
So puppets are not, but if you
Yes.
had action figures, it would be.
like a Muppets movie would not be, because it's never stop motion. You never stop any of the motion to take a picture and then move to the next one. And the same thing is true for the marionettes in Team America.
But a movie is literally just a series of pictures. That's why I was trying to clarify earlier, and you guys were like, yeah, it would be. I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense, but all right.
So by that feature, then any movie that features an
Non-people. Yeah.
artistically drawn character is the animation category.
Give me an
Because all
example.
movies are done in
Of,
frames.
At no
no,
point.
that's what I
no,
mean.
Here's
Give
the
me an
thing, though.
example of a movie that would fit that category
Stop,
but not
like,
be animated.
No, here's the thing.
Okay.
Stop motion animation, CGI, all those have animation in them. Puppets, those don't have any sort of animation, anything. Like, that's not
Okay.
animation. If that's your favorite and you want to put it in there.
No, it's fine. I'll pick something else, but based on what we had talked about in the pre-ramble, I thought that was the category. And so I'll pick something else.
You have been given 7 demerits.
Yeah.
Which means Parker will then be given 100.
God damn it! I knew that was the next thing that was going to happen.
Yep. Both of
Please
you.
don't give anybody demerits.
Disagulations.
I'm going to go with the Iron Giant.
It's a good
Ooh,
one.
good
That's on my
choice.
list. Good
It
one.
was not on my list, but it is a good choice.
Jeremy, you got 2.
I got 2. All right, I'm grabbing Spider-Verse.
Yep. I almost took that just to fuck
Yep.
Parker.
I love that one.
That's on my list, but it's not on my top 3.
It is.
And I'm
just admit
going
it.
to take one that is near and dear to my heart, Wreck-It Ralph. I love it.
Bad guy.
Yep.
Just because I'm a bad guy, don't mean I'm a bad guy.
Don't make me a bad guy.
I don't know how to spell Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Is it
R-A-L.
apostrophe?
Just W-R-E-C-K space I-T space R-A-L-P-H.
Yeah, it's saying that is not correct, but whatever, it's fine.
Uh,
All right. Okay, so I'm going to pick something. I just want to preface this saying that it is not my favorite animated movie, but I absolutely love the show that it inspired. So
okay.
I'm going to go with Ghost in the Shell. The
Mm.
movie is good, but I like the TV
Yeah.
show more.
Yes, I agree. Hard.
Parker.
I'm gonna go with my favorite Disney princess, The Emperor's
Vegeta.
New Groove. My favorite Disney princess is Emperor Kuzco. I love The Emperor's New Groove.
Good David Spade comedy.
Yes, Kuzco,
That is a good movie.
beware the groove.
Aaron, we got your last 2.
Lego Movie and Toy Story.
Ooh, those were like literally
Lego
the top
movie.
2 on my list.
Good one.
Oh, if you guys are gonna leave them for me,
Yeah, I know, right? I almost took Toy Story first. Parker, final pick.
This last one is like picking my children, but I think I have to go.
It's because Into the Spider-Verse was taken.
No, that was like number 12 on my list. I'm gonna do.
whatever.
I'm gonna go with Fantastic Mr. Fox.
It's on my
Final answer.
list. Good job. Cuss, cuss, cuss,
Never
cuss,
seen
cuss,
that.
cuss, cuss.
I did not think all
Dogs
of
love
these would still be
blueberries.
available. I thought you guys would make this easier on me. All right, last one. Do I just delete all of the stop motions then? Oh, this is impossible. All right. I'm gonna go with Wall-E.
There you go.
That was on my list too. One of the coolest movies with some of the lowest amount of dialogue. Like, there's almost no dialogue in that movie. The script
Yeah,
is
well,
like 7
there's
pages
a
long.
decent amount of dialogue, right? But it's all like non-main characters, right? It's all background stuff.
Right.
Yeah. The main character is communicating through like emotions.
Yeah, and they're robots. Beautiful
That movie is
animation
cute
job.
and
Yeah.
adorable until you read something about it that talks about having Wally be rapey, and then you think about it and you're like, oh no.
Like
Also,
everyone
copyright
appears
infringement
rapey
much,
if you
Wally?
want them to be rapey. It's one of those like you can infer
Dude,
rapiness. I
Dude,
think.
she was like quaaluded out the whole time, and he's like touching her and like grabbing her hand, and she's like sleeping. Dude, it ain't right.
Yep.
Who's
Yeah,
trying
don't
to
think
say-
about-
some batteries.
Don't think
The
about that
D-cell
movie, and don't think
batteries.
about the movie Grease very much. If you've ever thought
How
about
about
it.
you just watch? Why don't you just not watch Pinocchio? Like,
Oh yeah.
let's take the boys to Pleasure Island, and you're like, but we have to drug them to get them there. I'm like, hold on a second. Super rapey. All right, Aaron, what's your final pick? Oh wait, sorry, Jeremy, what's your final pick?
It made it all the way. South Park movie.
I almost picked that one.
Make
That
the
one-
sound of the dying giraffe.
Oh my god.
Ooh-wah. Ooh-wah. You just hear the tunnel. Ooh-wah, ooh-wah.
There will be heavy casualties in the front. What?
Alrighty. Yeah, I didn't pick the South Park movie because I thought it would just not fit the tone of all of my other choices.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to splash
Also,
the pot.
I also don't really remember almost anything that happens in it. I know I've seen it like three times.
A million times.
I confuse it with like the show so often. I haven't seen that much of the show. But it all just bleeds together.
I would say the
What
better
else is
move,
on?
the best movie South Park made was the COVID special. I think that was a fantastic movie.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's good.
That was good. What other movies you guys got?
The one I had to choose really hard between Fantastic Mr. Fox and for my third one was Rango. Have you ever seen
Okay.
Rango?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's
The
super
Johnny
good.
Depp.
Iguana movie.
The reason I love Fantastic Mr. Fox and Rango so much is they were both shot in an unusual style. All of the voice acting was done in a studio or on location with the actors, and then they just had regular sound and audio recording of all the actors doing all the things they were going to do in the film. And so then they just took that audio and animated it. So unlike traditional animation,
Voicing over the animation.
yeah. Instead of that, they actually had the directors and the actors just in plain clothes, just acting out all of the things they were doing in the film. And so there's some really cool behind the scenes, of like Johnny Depp and George Clooney and the different actors in these different movies, just doing everything the character was doing and saying the lines. It creates a different feel to the movie. I appreciated it.
I saw in an interview that's actually one of the reasons it takes so long for Rick and Morty to come out is because they actually have to animate it to the dialogue that Rick has because of the constant ad-libbed belching.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to animate his scenes after everything else because they don't know where he's going to put that because he's, improvising most of it. Or at least he was before he got fired for being a jackass. What's the name of that movie with Tom Cruise about cooking? I think it's called A Few Good Menus.
No.
Did that hurt you?
What did you rate Dark Dimension? An F? That's a fucking F.
It's F minus.
Yes.
All right. My leftovers that I wanted to pick were Finding Nemo, Chicken Run, Big Hero 6.
So good.
Chicken Run. It was Chicken Run or Wall-E, I think was my final.
Yeah.
I was down to. Big Hero 6, Up, and Mulan.
I had Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, and Ants.
Ants is good. I almost picked Ants.
There were two anime movies that I had on mine that I couldn't put on there, but I really wanted to. One was Princess Mononoke. I don't know if you guys ever saw that
That's a
one.
good one.
That's actually Princess Mononoke is what I credit for me ever watching anime. It was the very first story I remember watching, and I got it from the video store. I rented it a long time ago, and I remember going, "Oh my god, you mean anime can tell good stories?" And that was the very first anime I remember watching that I was like, "This is actually a good story. It's not just pulpy crap."
Yep. And it was
And the other
beautiful.
anime was
Beautiful movie.
Sword of the Stranger. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. It's gorgeous. It is one of the coolest animated movies I've ever seen because of the animation is silly. It is so strong. Really fun to watch. Sword of the Stranger. Very prototypical Japanese, plot, but amazing art concepts in that film.
Side tangent. Parker, have you watched Jujutsu Kaisen yet?
I have not. It's on my
You
list.
Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Have you? Other things on my list were Luca, Moana, and Nimona. All just main character names. I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of odd.
I like Moana as soon as she leaves the island and runs into the rock.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't like the
the-
very first parts of that.
I'm not gonna lie. The reason I love Moana is I know way too much about the story. I was teaching a class at the time about, and one of the parts of the class about cultural appropriation, and Moana is a really interesting story about how much the creators of the movie cared about
Mhm.
not just a cultural appropriation and doing the opposite of what Disney usually does, which is not pay any attention to voice actors and things like that. They were purposely trying to do the other thing, and the links they went to make that film was nuts. So it's a really cool story. I appreciate what they did creatively.
So I have 5 leftovers.
Well, hold on. Before we get there, you said
Yeah.
that you liked it when Moana runs into the rock. Do you think that maybe when she runs into him, he has to pee?
To the rock.
Do you know how he pees? He Dwayne's his Johnson.
If I kick you from the server, I would. Kick.
Oh, clearly only one evil overlord can have that
Yeah.
power. Have you?
Hey, you set that up, Jeremy. That's
I
on
did
you.
not.
Totally did. Okay, what are your 5?
Kubo and Two Strings.
Mhm.
Love that movie. Secret of Nem, that fucked up my
Ooh.
childhood.
That's good.
Lego Batman, which is one of the funniest fucking. Oh my god, Lego Batman.
Okay, so you liked Lego Batman,
Absolutely.
or just from the Lego movie, or actual Lego Batman?
From the Lego Batman movie.
Okay, I loved the Lego movie. I could not stand the Lego Batman movie. I don't know why.
I didn't like it the first time, and my kids were
Okay.
watching it, and I sat down the second time, and I was like, okay, hold on. And so I caught all the jokes differently, and it was
Okay.
hilarious. The first time,
All
I
right.
just didn't. Yeah, no, I get it. I didn't like it the first time.
I've had that experience before with movies, and now I absolutely love them.
Yeah,
So
Zootopia, fucking amazing.
I like Zootopia.
And then of course
That's
Lion
the
King.
Fox and Rabbit one, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Lion King. That was my original Disney.
Yeah.
That's the best Disney movie. That's the one that got me.
I had Lion King on my list too.
So there you have it, folks. That's the list. All right, I got to get up early. Let's wrap
Alrighty.
this.
Sorry for all the clickety clacking. I was typing a lot. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
So long.